Tonight we journey deep into the heart of the Amazon rainforest, where dense trees sway and the air is thick with mystery. The Amazon is a living labyrinth where secrets have been swallowed by time and overgrowth. Beneath the canopy, legends swirl of lost cities, ancient civilizations, and treasures waiting to be found. But let's be real, you probably won't survive this. But don't worry, that's part of the fun, right? So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop your location and local time in the comments. It's always cool to know where you're listening from. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. We begin in the dense jungle, where even the most seasoned explorers feel the weight of mystery. You step into the green abyss, knowing that you're walking where few have dared, where the past hides in the shadows of towering trees. Your every step crunches softly on the damp leaf-strewn ground, and the air tastes of earth and ancient secrets. You've heard the stories, of course. Stories of lost cities, ancient people, and treasures beyond imagination. But they're just stories, right? Just the stuff of legends, nothing more. Or are they? Historians have long debated the idea that great civilizations could have flourished in the Amazon, buried beneath its wild, unyielding surface. The Amazon, as we know it today, is an unforgiving landscape of jungle, swamps, and rivers that stretch for miles in every direction. But back in the day, before the world became too small, the idea of an untouched hidden world seemed all too possible. And perhaps that's what makes the lost cities of the Amazon so intoxicating, a tantalizing possibility, just waiting for someone to stumble upon it. But what's even more curious is how these lost cities came to be in the first place. Who lived here? What were they like? Historians have speculated that the Amazon was once home to sprawling, advanced civilizations, yet little solid evidence exists. Instead, there are theories, fragments of tales, and the occasional discovery that just might suggest something bigger was happening beneath the jungle's dense canopy. Some argue that, for centuries, indigenous cultures have been painting a picture of a forgotten world, one built by people who thrived and then mysteriously vanished. These stories are more than myths. They are memories, buried in the jungle's depths, waiting to be uncovered by those brave or foolish enough to seek them out. Historians still argue whether the ancient Amazon could have supported large cities, or if these myths are nothing more than elaborate fabrications. But one thing is certain, the allure of the Amazon's lost cities has captivated explorers and adventurers for centuries, and it's easy to see why. You continue walking through the jungle, your mind racing with possibilities, but beneath the beauty there's something more. Something ancient, perhaps even dangerous. A history that, if uncovered, could change everything. Into the heart of the jungle, the thick air wraps around you, humid and heavy with the scent of earth and decay. Every rustle of the leaves above sends a shiver through your spine, as if the trees themselves are whispering secrets of what lies beneath. The whispers are impossible to ignore. Stories of long-lost civilizations, hidden deep within the very land you tread. You know the legends well, but there's something more, something unsettling about the way the jungle seems to keep its secrets so close to the chest. But who lived here? Who built the cities that explorers and dreamers have sought for centuries? Some scholars suggest the ancient Amazon was home to complex and thriving cultures, with cities and urban centers capable of supporting tens of thousands of people. Yet, what we know of these civilizations is mostly speculative, clouded by the dense foliage that has smothered any clear evidence of their existence. The truth lies buried beneath centuries of overgrowth, erosion, and floods, hiding from the world that seems so eager to uncover it. Evidence of these civilizations, if you can call it that, is sparse. Ancient pottery fragments, stone tools, and the occasional carved stone are scattered throughout the region, hinting at something far grander once in place. These artifacts are often small, easily overlooked by the untrained eye. But if you know where to look, if you're willing to face the dangerous wilds, it's possible to find traces of a forgotten world. Historians still argue whether the Amazon was truly home to complex urban centers, or if the jungle simply played tricks on early explorers. Some believe that ancient civilizations in the Amazon were far more advanced than we give them credit for, thriving in harmony with the environment, using innovative agricultural practices that allowed them to create entire networks of cities. Yet others claim that the region was too harsh for such grand achievements. In the midst of these debates, one name echoes above the rest: Paititi. The fabled city of gold has become synonymous with the lost civilizations of the Amazon, its story a glittering thread woven into the very fabric of history. For centuries, Paititi has drawn explorers into its grasp, each one hoping to uncover its wealth and mysteries, only to vanish without a trace, leaving behind only whispers of their ambition. The myth of Paititi is so pervasive, so seductive, that it has taken on a life of its own, blending truth with fiction in a way that makes it hard to separate the two. While the legend of Paititi is perhaps the most famous, it is not the only story that has emerged from the depths of the jungle. Many believe the Amazon was home to numerous other cities, perhaps even dozens, scattered across the vast expanse of rainforest, their names lost to time. Some suggest that the ruins of these cities could still be out there, waiting for someone with the right knowledge or luck to find them. But so far, no one has been able to verify these claims definitively. The mystery of the Amazon's lost cities is compounded by the belief that the jungle itself plays a role in hiding them. Over the centuries, the rainforest has slowly consumed everything in its path. Trees tower above you, their roots twisting and snaking through the forest floor, claiming anything that dares to stand in their way. Rivers flood and recede, eroding whatever might have been left behind. Nature, it seems, has played the ultimate role in keeping these cities hidden, swallowing them into its depths, as if protecting them from the prying eyes of the outside world. Yet in the midst of this overwhelming natural force, there have been moments of clarity. Scattered ruins, unusual formations in the landscape, and ancient relics found by chance hint at a deeper story, a story that we have yet to fully understand. Perhaps the biggest clue is the discovery of ancient geoglyphs, large, intricate designs carved into the ground, visible only from the air. These geoglyphs suggest that ancient civilizations not only thrived here, but left behind tangible, unmistakable evidence of their presence. But still, many of these geoglyphs remain unexplained, adding another layer of mystery to the puzzle. Historians still argue about what these geoglyphs mean. Are they the work of a lost civilization, or are they simply a form of ceremonial art left behind by a culture we don't fully understand? The debate continues, but the presence of these markings, often deep within the jungle, is a reminder that the Amazon's secrets are far from being fully revealed. With every step you take, the feeling of something ancient and unknowable only grows stronger. The Amazon holds its mysteries close, and every clue you stumble upon only raises more questions. Who were these people? What did their cities look like, and where are they now? These questions linger in the air, like the scent of rain before a storm, waiting for someone to come along and unravel the tangled threads of history. It thickens around you, a quiet calm settles in. The world outside the trees seems miles away, and you're left alone with the ancient whispers of the rainforest. The stories you've heard about the lost cities of the Amazon come rushing back, one after another, but there's something about them that always feels incomplete. These are not simple tales spun by overzealous explorers. These are the threads of history, tangled and knotted by time. And yet, despite the many legends, the truth seems to be slipping further away with each passing year. You can't help but wonder, how much of it is true? How much of the myth is rooted in fact? And how much is the result of centuries of imagination running wild in the untamed Amazon? The line between the real and the imagined is blurred here, where every discovery raises more questions than answers. Perhaps the most famous of these myths is that of El Dorado, the Golden City, a shimmering paradise of wealth and treasure that has captivated the minds of adventurers and dreamers for centuries. According to legend, El Dorado was a kingdom so rich in gold that the very walls of its palaces were said to be coated in the precious metal. For the Spanish conquistadors, this was the ultimate prize, a treasure that could change the course of history. But as the myth goes, no one ever found El Dorado. In fact, most who set out to search for it never returned at all. The city remained an elusive dream, just beyond reach, like a mirage shimmering on the horizon. The story of El Dorado is not just one of wealth, but also of deception and failure. Spanish explorers like Francisco Orellana and Gonzalo Pizarro ventured into the heart of the Amazon in the 16th century, driven by the belief that they could find the Golden City and claim its riches for Spain. Yet, despite their tireless efforts, none of them ever returned with any concrete evidence of El Dorado's existence. Instead, they were swallowed by the jungle, their hopes dashed by the unforgiving environment and the brutal realities of exploration in such a hostile landscape. Historians still argue whether El Dorado was ever more than a myth. Some believe it was merely a fabrication, a story spun by indigenous people to protect their lands from outsiders. Others argue that the city may have existed in some form, but its wealth has long since vanished, lost to time and nature. The truth, like so many things in the Amazon, remains a mystery. As you push forward through the dense underbrush, you're reminded of the countless explorers who have passed this way before you, their names fading into obscurity, each one driven by the same dream, the discovery of a city that could change the world. They too believed the stories, believed that something great and hidden lay just out of reach. But in the end, the jungle swallowed them whole, just as it has done with so many others. What did they see? What did they find? And most importantly, what did they leave behind? This is the question that haunts every explorer of the Amazon, whether they're searching for El Dorado, Paititi, or something entirely different. The jungle holds its answers close, and perhaps that's the real lesson of the Amazon, that some things are not meant to be found. Some mysteries are too big, too old, and too wild for any one person to unravel. But that doesn't stop you from wondering, does it? There's something about this place, the weight of its secrets, that pulls you in. You wonder what lies hidden just beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered by the next brave soul willing to venture into its depths. Perhaps, like those before you, you'll discover something that defies explanation, something that will forever change your understanding of the past. It's easy to get lost in the romance of it all. The idea that somewhere in this vast, tangled jungle, a great civilization once thrived. Perhaps they left behind more than just stories. Perhaps they left behind something tangible, something that could prove once and for all that the myths of the Amazon's lost cities are more than just the stuff of legend. Historians still argue whether these civilizations truly existed on the scale described in the myths. Was there ever a golden city? Or were these just exaggerated tales born from the struggles of explorers trying to make sense of a world that defied their understanding? The questions remain unanswered, but the search continues, fueled by the possibility that there is something waiting to be found. As you push forward, the jungle grows even denser, and you can't help but feel that you're on the edge of something great, something ancient, and though the answers remain hidden, the mystery is what keeps you going. Travel into the jungle, the thicker the air becomes, heavy with the promise of something ancient. The sound of the river rushing nearby provides a rhythmic backdrop as you navigate through thick vines and towering trees. You're not just walking through the rainforest, you're stepping into the pages of a story, one written by civilizations long forgotten. And yet, despite the haunting beauty, there's a sense of being watched, as if the jungle itself is aware of your every step. It's a sensation many explorers have felt before you, and it's easy to understand why. One legend that continues to haunt the Amazon and perhaps even fuels your own curiosity is that of El Dorado, the city of gold. The mere mention of its name conjures visions of treasure-laden cities, endless riches, and a hidden kingdom of unimaginable wealth. It was an idea that captivated the imagination of many throughout history, from the Spanish conquistadors in the 16th century to modern adventurers still hoping to uncover the truth. The allure of El Dorado is undeniable, and for centuries it led explorers deep into the heart of the Amazon, only for them to be swallowed by the unforgiving jungle. But why did this myth persist for so long? Historians still debate whether El Dorado was simply a fabrication, a tale spun by indigenous tribes to mislead the conquistadors and keep them from their land, or if the city did, in fact, exist. Some argue that the legend was based on real events, with gold once being used as part of ritual offerings to the gods, which then evolved into a story of unimaginable wealth. Others suggest that El Dorado was never a city of gold at all, but rather a metaphor for the endless search for wealth that dominated the colonial period. As you continue to push through the dense foliage, the idea of El Dorado still lingers, like a distant echo of a dream. But if there's one thing you've learned from the stories of past explorers, it's that the truth about the lost cities of the Amazon is not so easily uncovered. Each tale, whether it's El Dorado or another city, is a fragment of something larger, something that's been lost, hidden, or perhaps misinterpreted over time. The first explorers to venture into the Amazon, armed with little more than maps and determination, were often deceived by the jungle's vastness and its deceptive beauty. They followed whispers of a golden city, convinced that they were on the brink of a monumental discovery. But as they ventured further into the rainforest, they found themselves trapped by the very terrain they hoped to conquer. The rivers, swollen with rain, became impassable. The jungle, with its relentless heat and humidity, seemed to drain the very life out of them. And the inhabitants of the land, the indigenous tribes who had lived there for centuries, were often seen as obstacles to be overcome rather than allies to be sought out. These early expeditions are often filled with failure, miscommunication, and tragedy. Yet despite the seemingly insurmountable odds, the idea of a golden city remained tantalizingly close. The belief that El Dorado was out there somewhere pushed countless explorers to their breaking point. Francisco Orellana, for example, became the first European to navigate the entire length of the Amazon River. But even he was not immune to the allure of the legend. Despite his remarkable journey, he was haunted by the idea that El Dorado lay just beyond the horizon. As he and his crew trekked deeper into the heart of the rainforest, Orellana's hope for a city of gold grew with each passing day, until his hopes were dashed by the suffocating jungle and the harsh realities of survival in such a hostile environment. Historians still argue whether Orellana's obsession with the Golden City was simply a product of his imagination or whether there was something more to the myth. Could there have been a place where ancient civilizations once accumulated wealth beyond their wildest dreams? Or was the legend just a tale spun by the Amazon itself, luring explorers into a false sense of certainty, only to devour them whole when they ventured too far? The debate rages on, with no clear answer in sight. The more you think about it, the more you realize that the truth behind El Dorado, like so many other lost cities, is forever shrouded in mystery. Perhaps the city of gold was real. Perhaps it wasn't. What's certain is that the legend, with its endless promise of wealth, drew countless souls to the jungle, and they were never seen again. Their fates became part of the myth itself, woven into the very fabric of the Amazon, leaving behind nothing but questions. As you pause for a moment to take in the dense foliage around you, you can't help but wonder, could it be that the city of El Dorado, or whatever it may have been, is hidden beneath this very jungle? Could you, the next in a long line of explorers, finally uncover the truth? The thought hangs in the air like a whisper, a tantalizing possibility that could change everything you thought you knew. But there's one thing you can be sure of. You're not the first to entertain that thought. The jungle is full of echoes of those who came before, all chasing the same dream, and all lost to the abyss. El Dorado, it seems, is more than a place. It's an idea, a mirage, a beacon that keeps drawing people in, even as it continues to elude them. Awaiting continue, Dorado continues to haunt you as you move deeper into the jungle, the thick canopy overhead casting shadows that feel heavier with each step. The story of the Golden City is ingrained in the very fabric of the Amazon, and yet its elusive nature has kept it just beyond reach for centuries. But as much as you want to find the truth, whether El Dorado is a reality or a figment of myth, you know that uncovering it won't be as simple as following a trail of gold. The Amazon has a way of keeping its secrets, and it's not kind to those who think they can conquer it. While the legend of El Dorado remains one of the most well-known, it is by no means the only tale that has drawn explorers into the heart of the Amazon. In fact, there are countless other stories of lost cities, ancient peoples, and long-forgotten civilizations, each one contributing to the rich tapestry of mystery that surrounds the region. These stories are just as captivating, just as filled with possibility, and they all seem to promise that something great is waiting to be discovered, hidden away beneath layers of jungle, time, and history. Take the story of Paititi, for example. Like El Dorado, Paititi is the stuff of legends, another city said to be filled with unimaginable wealth and knowledge. But unlike El Dorado, Paititi is not just a story of gold and riches. It's tied to the Inca civilization and its supposed expansion deep into the Amazon. According to various accounts, Paititi was a sprawling city that flourished long after the fall of the Inca Empire, hidden away from the Spanish conquerors by a combination of geography, secrecy, and the natural barriers of the rainforest. The search for Paititi has captured the imaginations of explorers for centuries, but, like El Dorado, it has never been found. Some believe it's hidden deep in the heart of the Amazon, where only the most determined or desperate can venture. Others argue that it's nothing more than a myth, a fantasy created by the Inca survivors who fled to the jungle to escape Spanish rule. The question of whether Paititi exists or ever existed is still hotly debated. Yet, despite the lack of concrete evidence, the allure of Paititi continues to draw adventurers from all corners of the globe. One of the most intriguing theories surrounding Paititi is its possible connection to the advanced agricultural techniques of the Inca people. The Inca were known for their sophisticated understanding of agriculture, especially in the high-altitude regions of the Andes, where they developed terracing systems and irrigation methods to cultivate crops on steep mountain slopes. Could it be that these same techniques were used to build thriving cities in the depths of the Amazon, where the land is far less forgiving? Historians and archaeologists still argue whether such a feat was possible. Some believe that the Incas, with their knowledge of engineering and farming, could have adapted their skills to the Amazon's tropical environment. Others claim that the jungle's overwhelming humidity, unpredictable flooding, and dense undergrowth would have made large-scale settlements in the region impossible. But one thing is clear. If Paititi does exist, it is likely buried beneath centuries of vegetation, waiting to be uncovered by someone with the right combination of skill, persistence, and luck. Despite the uncertainty, the search for Paititi continues. Modern explorers and archaeologists, armed with advanced technology like satellite imagery and LiDAR, light detection and ranging, are making new discoveries that hint at the possibility of ancient settlements in the Amazon. In fact, just in the past few decades, several large, previously undiscovered structures have been found using these technologies, leading some to believe that the region once held more advanced civilizations than previously thought. These discoveries have sparked a renewed interest in the search for Paititi and other lost cities in the Amazon, as experts race to understand what might still be hidden in the jungle's depths. But while technology has provided new tools for exploration, the Amazon remains an incredibly challenging environment. The heat, humidity, and relentless rain can wear even the most experienced adventurers down. And beyond the physical challenges, the jungle is teeming with dangers: poisonous snakes, aggressive wildlife, and diseases that can strike without warning. Despite these obstacles, the allure of uncovering the secrets of the Amazon continues to drive people into its heart, with the hope that one day they might stumble upon something that changes everything. As you push forward through the thick jungle, you can't help but wonder what's out there, waiting to be discovered. Perhaps it's Paititi, or maybe it's something else entirely. Another city, another civilization, hidden deep within the Amazon's grasp. Whatever it is, the jungle has a way of making you believe that anything is possible. It lures you in with its beauty, its mystery, and its promise of discovery. But the truth is, the Amazon has more secrets than any one person could ever uncover in a lifetime. The question is, are you willing to risk everything for the chance to uncover them? Historians still argue whether the lost cities of the Amazon ever existed, or if they are simply the stuff of myth. The mysteries of the jungle continue to captivate those who dare to enter, and with each new expedition, the question of what lies hidden beneath the trees becomes ever more tantalizing. Awaiting, continue. deeper into the jungle, your body grows tired, but your mind remains alight with the excitement of the unknown. The air is thick, and the scent of damp earth is ever present, clinging to everything around you. The jungle is alive with sounds, the calls of birds you can't name, the rustling of leaves above you as unseen creatures move between the trees, and the distant roar of water crashing through the forest's veins. It's a world that seems both alien and familiar, a place where time slows down and everything feels untouchable, frozen in a moment of perpetual mystery. You can't help but wonder, though, how much of this world has already been lost, how much of the Amazon has yet to be uncovered. You've heard the stories of lost cities, hidden deep within the jungle's grasp, and the idea of discovering them keeps pulling you forward. There's something thrilling about the notion that just a few paces away, you might stumble upon a hidden relic, a piece of history that's been waiting for centuries to be discovered. And yet, it's not just the promise of treasure that drives explorers like you. It's the deeper question. Who were the people who lived here? What were their cities like? How did they shape the landscape? And what happened to them? These are questions that have plagued archaeologists and historians for decades, and each new discovery adds another piece to the puzzle of the Amazon's lost past. Many of these questions center around the mysterious civilizations that once inhabited the region. Archaeologists have long speculated that the ancient civilizations of the Amazon were not as primitive as once thought. The idea that the jungle was too inhospitable for large-scale settlements has been challenged in recent years, especially with the advent of new technologies and methods of exploration. What's becoming clearer is that these civilizations may have been far more advanced than we ever imagined, possibly even more sophisticated than their counterparts in Europe or Asia. In the past few decades, researchers have uncovered evidence of complex agricultural systems, intricate road networks, and massive earthen mounds that suggest the Amazon was once home to a vibrant and thriving culture. These discoveries are a far cry from the popular belief that the region was too dense and harsh to support large populations. Instead, the findings point to civilizations that were able to manipulate their environment in innovative ways, perhaps building cities on a scale that we can't yet comprehend. Historians still argue about the extent of these civilizations. Some believe they were isolated, small communities that survived on simple farming techniques. Others suggest that they were part of a much larger, interconnected network of cities spread out across the vast expanse of the Amazon basin. And while we may never fully understand the scope of these ancient civilizations, one thing is clear. These people had a profound impact on the landscape, one that has been hidden for centuries under a thick blanket of jungle. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence for advanced civilizations in the Amazon comes from the discovery of geoglyphs, massive earthworks etched into the ground, visible only from the air. These geoglyphs, which can cover vast areas, are believed to have been created by ancient peoples who lived in the region long before European explorers arrived. The shapes and patterns of these geoglyphs suggest that these people had a sophisticated understanding of geometry and engineering, skills that would have been essential for building large-scale cities and infrastructure. The discovery of these geoglyphs has led some archaeologists to believe that the Amazon was once home to a network of interconnected cities, much like the great civilizations of Europe and Asia. Some even argue that the cities may have been as advanced as the great cities of the Inca or Maya, thriving long before the arrival of Europeans. However, much of this remains speculative, as the dense jungle and the passage of time have erased much of the physical evidence. Despite the uncertainty, these discoveries have reinvigorated the search for the lost cities of the Amazon. Archaeologists are now using cutting-edge technology, such as LiDAR, light detection and ranging, to map the jungle and uncover hidden ruins that were previously invisible to the naked eye. LiDAR technology uses laser pulses to scan the ground, revealing hidden structures beneath the thick canopy. This has led to the discovery of ancient cities, monumental structures, and vast road networks, further suggesting that the Amazon was once home to civilizations that were far more complex than previously thought. One of the most remarkable discoveries made through LiDAR scanning is the massive ancient city of Caral in Peru. Caral, believed to be the oldest known city in the Americas, predates even the Inca civilization and provides valuable insight into how ancient cultures may have lived in the Americas. The discovery of Caral and other ancient sites has challenged previous notions about the capabilities of pre-Columbian civilizations and has prompted a reevaluation of the role the Amazon might have played in the development of ancient societies. But despite these breakthroughs, many questions remain unanswered. How did these civilizations thrive in such an unforgiving environment? What caused them to vanish? And, perhaps most importantly, what can we learn from their rise and fall? These questions continue to drive researchers and explorers as they seek to uncover the forgotten cities and lost histories of the Amazon. Historians still argue whether the ancient civilizations of the Amazon truly developed urban societies on the scale of other ancient civilizations, or if they were small, isolated communities. But the discoveries we've made so far suggest that the truth may lie somewhere in between. Perhaps the Amazon was home to a patchwork of cities, each with its own unique culture, yet connected by a shared history of innovation and survival. Venture into the jungle, the more you begin to feel that ancient presence lingering just beneath the surface, hidden in the dense foliage. As the sunlight filters through the gaps in the canopy above, a wave of wonder mixes with a feeling of unease. The Amazon is not only a living jungle, but a graveyard of the past, where civilizations once thrived, only to be swallowed whole by nature. You wonder how much more the jungle is hiding, how many secrets still lie beneath the tangled roots and vines. You've heard tales of explorers finding relics, ancient artifacts, and even entire ruins buried deep within the rainforest. Most of these finds have been small, fragments of pottery, broken tools, and the occasional statue, but they all share a common theme. They hint at a lost world, a world that existed long before the arrival of Europeans. These relics are like breadcrumbs, scattered across the jungle floor, leading you deeper into the mystery of the Amazon's forgotten cities. One of the most fascinating clues comes from the discovery of ancient road networks buried beneath the jungle's thick growth. These roads, which were once used by the civilizations of the Amazon, suggest a level of sophistication that challenges the conventional belief that the region was inhospitable to large-scale settlements. These roads, some of which stretch for miles, are thought to have connected different cities and villages, forming a complex web of trade and communication across the vast expanse of the Amazon basin. What's even more intriguing is that many of these roads seem to have been built with a specific purpose in mind: to connect people, to facilitate trade, and to allow for the movement of goods across the landscape. The idea of ancient civilizations thriving in the Amazon, their roads linking cities and communities, is a radical shift from the traditional view that the rainforest was too challenging for large-scale urban development. As you make your way deeper into the jungle, the idea of these ancient roads keeps circling in your mind. How did the people of the Amazon build such intricate networks? What tools did they use? How did they overcome the natural obstacles of the jungle, such as flooding, steep terrain, and the ever-present threat of disease? Some scholars believe that the people of the Amazon used the rivers as their primary transportation routes, and that the roads were built as secondary pathways to connect different regions of the rainforest. This theory suggests that the Amazon's ancient civilizations may have been more connected than we ever imagined, with bustling trade routes and a complex system of communication. If this is true, it would dramatically alter our understanding of the Amazon's history. However, there are still many who remain skeptical about the idea that ancient civilizations in the Amazon were capable of such feats. Some argue that the region's dense jungle and unpredictable weather would have made it nearly impossible to construct roads and infrastructure on a large scale. Others suggest that the ancient peoples of the Amazon were simply nomadic, moving through the forest without the need for permanent roads or settlements. The debate continues, with historians still divided over whether the lost cities of the Amazon were once part of a larger interconnected network or if they were isolated, small communities. But one thing is certain: the more we discover about the ancient people of the Amazon, the more we realize how little we truly know. With every new discovery, the region's rich history becomes even more enigmatic, and the question of what lies hidden beneath the jungle's dense canopy becomes all the more tantalizing. In recent years, new technologies like LiDAR have given us the tools to look deeper into the Amazon than ever before. LiDAR, a form of remote sensing that uses laser pulses to map the ground beneath the jungle, has revealed stunning new details about the ancient civilizations of the Amazon. Researchers have uncovered massive structures, long-lost cities, and intricate networks of roads and canals that suggest the Amazon was once home to a sophisticated, urban society. These discoveries are shaking the foundations of our understanding of the region's history. For years, the Amazon was thought to be a wilderness that could never support large cities. But with each new finding, it becomes increasingly clear that the people of the Amazon were capable of much more than we ever imagined. They were able to shape the landscape to suit their needs, building roads, canals, and agricultural systems that allowed them to thrive in one of the most challenging environments on Earth. One of the most remarkable discoveries made using LiDAR technology was the uncovering of a vast network of ancient canals in the southern Amazon, near the border of Brazil and Bolivia. These canals, which stretch for hundreds of miles, are thought to have been used by ancient civilizations to facilitate trade and transport goods across the rainforest. The discovery of these canals challenges the traditional view that the Amazon was too difficult to navigate for large-scale transportation and trade. But the canals are just one example of the many hidden structures that have been uncovered using LiDAR. In addition to the canals, researchers have found the remains of large cities, complete with sprawling plazas, temples, and monumental architecture. These cities, which were once buried beneath the jungle, provide tantalizing evidence that the Amazon was home to advanced civilizations that rivaled those of Europe and Asia. Despite the groundbreaking discoveries, however, much of the ancient history of the Amazon remains shrouded in mystery. While LiDAR has revealed incredible details about the region's lost cities, there is still so much we don't understand. How did these civilizations rise to such prominence, and what caused them to disappear? Was it environmental change, disease, or something else entirely? And perhaps most importantly, what lessons can we learn from their rise and fall? As you continue your journey through the jungle, the question of what lies beneath the surface of this ancient land lingers in your mind. What more can be discovered? What secrets are still hidden in the depths of the Amazon? The search continues, and with each new discovery, the mystery grows even more profound. Historians still argue whether the ancient civilizations of the Amazon were truly capable of constructing large cities and intricate road networks, or if these findings are simply anomalies in the jungle's landscape. But one thing is certain, the Amazon's lost cities are real, and they are waiting to be uncovered. The question is, will you be the one to find them? The undergrowth of the Amazon seems to close in around you as you move forward, the weight of its age and mystery pressing against your every step. The jungle feels both ancient and timeless, as if it has always been here, holding on to the secrets of a forgotten world. Yet with every new discovery, the veil is lifted just a little more, revealing glimpses of a civilization lost to history. The more you learn, the more it becomes clear that the Amazon is not just a wilderness, it's a graveyard of stories, a place where entire civilizations once flourished and then vanished into the soil. Amid the relentless pursuit of the great myth of El Dorado and the elusive dreams of Paititi, one of the most fascinating discoveries to emerge in recent years is the connection between the Amazon's ancient cities and the land itself. For years, researchers have debated how the Amazon could have supported large populations and complex societies. After all, it's a region notorious for its harsh environment, high temperatures, unpredictable flooding, and thick vegetation that can make even the most experienced explorers feel lost. But it turns out that the very soil that seems so inhospitable today may have been the key to these lost civilizations' success. Archaeologists have uncovered evidence of advanced agricultural practices that would have allowed ancient peoples to thrive in the Amazon's harsh conditions. They found traces of terra preta, rich, dark soil that is unlike anything found naturally in the region. Terra preta, or black earth, is thought to be the result of ancient peoples adding charcoal, bone, and other organic materials to the soil, enriching it and making it more fertile. This practice, which could have been used for centuries, would have allowed people to cultivate crops on a scale previously believed impossible in the Amazon. What's even more intriguing is that these agricultural methods didn't just help these civilizations survive, they may have allowed them to thrive. The use of terra preta suggests that these ancient people were capable of manipulating their environment, crafting fertile landscapes that could support large populations. This discovery challenges the traditional view of the Amazon as an untamed, uninhabitable wilderness. In reality, it seems that the people who lived here were anything but primitive. They had a deep understanding of the land, and their agricultural techniques allowed them to shape the rainforest to suit their needs. Historians still argue whether these agricultural practices were widespread across the entire Amazon or if they were isolated to certain areas. However, evidence continues to surface that points to a more intricate and complex relationship between ancient civilizations and the land. The existence of terra preta and the widespread use of advanced farming techniques suggests that the ancient people of the Amazon were capable of far more than simply surviving. They were actively shaping their environment to create the conditions necessary for their societies to flourish. As you press forward, the jungle begins to open up, revealing glimpses of the past that are hidden just beneath the surface. In some areas, you notice the remains of ancient walls, long crumbled and overtaken by the relentless growth of the forest. These walls, once the foundations of great cities, are now little more than ruins, swallowed by the jungle's overwhelming power. But even their decay, they serve as a testament to the people who once built them. The remains of these cities are scattered across the landscape, waiting to be uncovered by those willing to look beyond the present and search for the stories of the past. These ruins are not just physical remnants. They are the echoes of entire civilizations that once thrived in the Amazon basin. Their architects, their builders, and their artists have long since disappeared, but the evidence of their ingenuity and creativity remains, hidden beneath the layers of soil and vegetation. You wonder how many more cities are out there waiting to be discovered. How many more ruins lie buried under the jungle's thick canopy, their secrets locked away for centuries? There's no telling how much of the ancient world still remains hidden beneath the surface. Every step you take feels like a step closer to uncovering something truly monumental, something that could change our understanding of the Amazon forever. One such discovery, which made headlines in the last few years, was the identification of massive urban centers in the Bolivian Amazon, uncovered using LiDAR technology. These newly discovered cities show that the ancient people of the Amazon were capable of constructing monumental architecture, pyramids, plazas, and even road networks on a scale that rivals any ancient civilization. These findings suggest that the Amazon was not just home to small, isolated villages, but to sprawling urban centers connected by intricate transportation systems, all of which were hidden for centuries beneath the forest's thick cover. The discovery of these urban centers is a significant step forward in understanding the true history of the Amazon. For years, the region was thought to be incapable of sustaining large, complex societies. But the evidence found in recent years suggests that this view was not only wrong, but also deeply limiting. The ancient civilizations of the Amazon were just as capable of creating large cities and sophisticated infrastructure as their counterparts in other parts of the world. Historians still debate whether the lost cities of the Amazon were part of a single, unified civilization, or whether they were scattered across the region in separate, independent societies. Some believe that the cities were part of a larger, interconnected network, while others argue that each city was isolated, with no real connection to the others. Regardless of the answer, the sheer scale of these discoveries is enough to challenge our understanding of what life in the Amazon was like thousands of years ago. As you continue your journey, the question of what lies beneath the jungle's surface lingers in your mind. What else remains to be discovered? What secrets are still waiting to be unearthed? With each new expedition, the mysteries of the Amazon become more intriguing, offering tantalizing glimpses of a world that once was but is now lost to time. Historians still argue whether these ancient cities were connected or independent, but one thing is certain: they were far more advanced than we ever imagined. The question of who built them, how they thrived, and why they disappeared remains unanswered. But the search for answers continues, and with each new discovery, we move one step closer to unraveling the mysteries of the Amazon's lost cities. As you push deeper into the jungle, it's hard not to feel like you're on the verge of something monumental, something that could change the way we understand history itself. Every rustle of the leaves, every faint trace of human-made structures beneath the moss feels like a whisper from the past, urging you onward. The Amazon is a place of contradictions, wild and untamed, yet full of secrets buried beneath its surface. Each step you take, each new discovery you make, is a reminder that the jungle is far more than it seems. The more you learn about the lost cities of the Amazon, the more you realize how much we've underestimated this vast region. The traditional view of the Amazon as a wilderness that could not sustain large-scale civilizations is quickly being upended. In recent decades, evidence has emerged suggesting that the rainforest was once home to thriving, interconnected societies far more advanced than we ever imagined. These societies didn't simply survive, they thrived, building cities, roads, and agricultural systems that could sustain large populations. One of the most exciting recent developments in the search for these lost cities is the discovery of what could be a massive network of interconnected settlements stretching across the Brazilian and Bolivian Amazon. Using advanced technologies like LiDAR, archaeologists have uncovered what could be the largest ancient urban complex ever found in the Americas. This network of cities, which seems to span hundreds of miles, was once hidden beneath the thick jungle canopy, invisible to the human eye. But thanks to modern technology, these hidden cities are now coming to light, offering a glimpse into a world we thought was lost forever. What's particularly fascinating about these findings is the scale of the civilization that built them. The cities uncovered through LiDAR scans are massive, with large plazas, ceremonial centers, and intricate road networks connecting them. These ancient people, it seems, had the technological know-how and organizational skill to build something that rivals the great cities of Europe or Asia. It's a discovery that forces us to reconsider everything we thought we knew about the Amazon and the people who lived there. Historians and archaeologists are still debating the implications of these discoveries. Some argue that these cities were part of a single unified civilization, while others believe they were independent communities linked by trade and cultural exchange. But regardless of their origins, the scale and complexity of the cities uncovered so far suggest that the people who lived here were far more advanced than we ever imagined. The advanced urban infrastructure revealed by LiDAR also challenges the idea that the Amazon was simply a wilderness. These cities were not isolated outposts. They were connected by a network of roads and canals, some of which are still visible today. These transportation routes, which once facilitated trade and communication between cities, point to a level of organization and sophistication that we rarely associate with ancient civilizations in the Americas. Even more intriguing are the agricultural systems that allowed these cities to thrive in the challenging Amazon environment. Researchers have uncovered evidence of extensive agricultural terracing, irrigation systems, and the use of terra preta, the rich, dark soil that the ancient peoples of the Amazon created by mixing charcoal, bone, and other organic materials into the earth. These techniques, which have been known to enhance soil fertility, would have allowed these ancient civilizations to grow crops on a large scale, supporting dense populations in the heart of the jungle. What's particularly remarkable about these agricultural techniques is that they appear to have been developed independently long before the arrival of Europeans. The people of the Amazon were able to harness the power of the land, transforming what seemed like an inhospitable environment into a thriving agricultural center. And these techniques may have played a significant role in the rise of the lost cities, providing the foundation for the vast urban networks that spanned the region. Despite these groundbreaking discoveries, many questions remain. Why did these civilizations fall? What caused them to disappear from the landscape? Some scholars believe that the arrival of Europeans with their diseases, warfare, and colonization led to the downfall of the Amazon's great cities. Others suggest that environmental changes, such as droughts or flooding, may have played a role. The truth is, we may never fully understand why these ancient civilizations vanished, but their legacy lives on in the ruins they left behind. For now, the search for the lost cities of the Amazon continues. With each new discovery, we get closer to understanding the true extent of the civilizations that once thrived here. But the jungle, as always, holds its secrets close, revealing only what it chooses to reveal. For now, we can only marvel at the discoveries made so far and dream of what might still be waiting to be uncovered. Historians still argue whether the civilizations of the Amazon were truly as advanced as their counterparts in Europe and Asia. Some believe that these cities were merely small, isolated outposts, while others argue that they were part of a vast, interconnected network that spanned the entire Amazon basin. Regardless of the debate, one thing is clear. The ancient civilizations of the Amazon were far more complex than we ever thought, and the mysteries they left behind are far from being solved. As you walk through the dense jungle, your thoughts return to the question that has haunted explorers for centuries. What else lies hidden beneath the trees? With each step, you feel closer to uncovering the truth, but the Amazon remains as elusive and mysterious as ever. The lost cities of the Amazon may one day be uncovered, but for now, they remain just out of reach, waiting to reveal their secrets to the next brave soul, willing to venture into the heart of the jungle. It grows heavier as the jungle seems to close in around you, the thick green foliage whispering secrets in a language long forgotten by time. Each step you take brings you deeper into the heart of the Amazon, and it's as though the very land beneath your feet is alive with ancient memories. You've heard the legends, the lost cities, the forgotten civilizations, but with every new discovery, the mystery of the Amazon grows even more elusive. What if the truth isn't just one lost city, but an entire network of them, scattered across the rainforest, waiting to be uncovered by those bold enough to search? In recent years, archaeological discoveries have uncovered evidence that there were far more cities in the Amazon than we previously thought. The idea that the Amazon was an uninhabitable wilderness has been definitively challenged by the evidence of complex civilizations that once thrived here. Using new technologies, including LiDAR, archaeologists have uncovered ruins that stretch across vast expanses, revealing city centers, ceremonial plazas, and even massive irrigation systems. These findings suggest that ancient people were able to manipulate their environment in ways that modern-day explorers and archaeologists could hardly imagine. One of the most striking discoveries in recent times has been the identification of ancient ceremonial centers scattered across the Brazilian Amazon. These large open-air plazas, often surrounded by impressive earthworks and intricate geometrical patterns, hint at a sophisticated understanding of both engineering and spirituality. The fact that these sites appear to have been linked by long-distance roads and trade networks points to a level of societal organization that once seemed impossible in such a dense and unforgiving environment. But it's not just the urban infrastructure that's so remarkable. It's the evidence of a cultural and intellectual legacy that's only now beginning to come to light. The intricate road networks and ceremonial spaces suggest that these ancient peoples were not only skilled builders, but also had a deep understanding of astronomy, mathematics, and the cycles of nature. Their cities may have been centers of learning, hubs for both spiritual practice and intellectual exchange. Historians still argue whether these ancient civilizations were fully urbanized in the way we understand cities today. Some believe they were more agricultural settlements with large interconnected villages, while others argue that the urban centers of the Amazon were as advanced as those of Europe or Asia, with bustling markets, organized governments, and complex social hierarchies. The question of whether these cities were small and isolated or part of a larger network is still unresolved. But one thing is clear: the civilizations of the Amazon were far more sophisticated than we ever imagined. As you continue through the dense jungle, the realization sets in that you may never find all the answers. The Amazon is a place of mystery, one where secrets are both hidden and revealed, sometimes all at once. You may uncover ancient cities, but the jungle will always keep some things just out of reach. Perhaps that's part of the allure, this tantalizing dance with the unknown, where each discovery brings you closer to a deeper mystery. One of the most fascinating aspects of these lost cities is their relationship with the environment. Many researchers are now theorizing that the civilizations of the Amazon didn't just adapt to the jungle, they actively shaped it to suit their needs. The discovery of vast agricultural systems, including terracing and irrigation channels, points to a sophisticated understanding of how to cultivate crops in an environment that seems hostile to human life. The people who built these cities didn't just live off the land. They transformed it, creating fertile ground in one of the world's most challenging ecosystems. What's especially intriguing about these agricultural systems is how they relate to the soil. Terra preta, the rich, dark soil that researchers have uncovered in various sites, is a testament to the advanced farming techniques employed by ancient civilizations. By mixing charcoal, bone, and other organic materials into the soil, they created a sustainable and highly fertile environment for agriculture. This practice allowed for the cultivation of crops on a large scale, sustaining large populations and allowing these civilizations to thrive in an otherwise challenging environment. Historians still argue whether the agricultural techniques used by these ancient peoples were unique to the Amazon or if they were shared by other civilizations in the Americas. Some scholars believe that the techniques were developed independently, while others suggest that there may have been cultural exchange between different groups across the continent. What's clear, however, is that the people of the Amazon had an intricate relationship with the land, and their ability to manipulate the environment helped sustain their civilization for centuries. Yet, despite all these discoveries, the question of why these civilizations vanished remains a mystery. Some scholars believe that environmental changes, such as droughts or flooding, may have contributed to the collapse of the cities. Others argue that the arrival of Europeans, along with diseases and warfare, played a significant role. Still, others suggest that the civilizations of the Amazon may have simply outgrown their environment, unable to sustain themselves as their populations grew. Whatever the cause, the disappearance of these civilizations adds another layer of mystery to the Amazon. It's as if these cities, once teeming with life, were swallowed by the jungle, leaving only traces behind for us to find. And with each new discovery, the question of what happened to them only grows more tantalizing. The debate among historians and archaeologists is far from settled, and there are still many unanswered questions about the lost cities of the Amazon. Were these cities truly the vast, interconnected urban centers some believed them to be? Or were they small, isolated villages? Did they thrive for centuries? Or were they short-lived and ephemeral? And most importantly, what caused them to disappear? As you move through the jungle, these questions swirl around you, but they don't feel like obstacles. Instead, they feel like invitations, invites to keep pushing forward, to keep searching for the truths hidden beneath the canopy. Perhaps the answers will come in time, but for now, the Amazon keeps its secrets close. And maybe that's just the way it should be. Deeper you delve into the heart of the Amazon, the more you begin to sense the layers of history that cling to the air like a thick fog. The jungle itself seems to breathe, alive with the energy of 1,000 years. Every step you take through this vast, untamed wilderness feels like walking through a living museum, one that's yet to be fully discovered. The lost cities of the Amazon are out there, their histories waiting to be uncovered, but each answer only leads to more questions. The deeper you go, the more the mysteries multiply, each new discovery pulling you further into the enigma of this ancient land. As you move forward, the landscape begins to shift. Towering trees give way to expansive swaths of flat land, and the thick underbrush thins out into open spaces that hint at something more, something man-made. There are no signposts here, no guidebooks to tell you what lies ahead, but the more you look, the more you realize you are not the first to tread this path. The jungle has preserved its secrets well, but the remnants of past civilizations are beginning to surface, like whispers from a forgotten world. The ruins of ancient structures rise before you, covered in moss, vines, and the dense vegetation of centuries. These are not the overgrown mounds or scattered remnants you might expect from abandoned villages. They are more. Here, crumbling stone walls hint at what once was a grand, thriving city, a place where people lived, worked, and flourished. The shapes of these ruins suggest deliberate design, careful planning, and craftsmanship that couldn't have emerged by accident. The structures show signs of advanced architecture, large terraces, raised platforms, and perhaps most intriguingly, the unmistakable shape of ceremonial centers. You pause, your heart racing. The Amazon was never supposed to be home to anything like this. For years, we were told that it was a place too wild, too inhospitable for large civilizations to thrive. Yet here you are, standing in the midst of ruins that suggest otherwise. These lost cities of the Amazon were far from primitive. They were centers of civilization that seemed to have understood and manipulated the land in ways we're only beginning to understand. Historians and archaeologists still argue whether these ancient civilizations were truly urban, or whether they were more like large agricultural settlements. Some insist that these cities were small and decentralized, while others argue that the evidence points to a much larger and more complex network of urban centers that spanned vast distances. What's certain, however, is that the scale and sophistication of what's being uncovered is pushing the boundaries of what we once thought was possible. The question of how these ancient civilizations were able to thrive in the Amazon remains one of the most debated. The environment, with its humidity, rainfall, and dense vegetation, seems to present an insurmountable challenge for any society trying to build something grand. But as discoveries continue to pour in, it's becoming increasingly clear that the people of the Amazon were not just surviving, they were thriving. They cultivated the land through innovative agricultural practices, and some evidence suggests that they engineered their landscapes to create the fertile soils necessary to support large populations. Take, for example, the recent discovery of vast agricultural terraces and the use of terra preta, the dark, nutrient-rich soil that these ancient civilizations created by mixing organic material like charcoal, bones, and other waste into the earth. This process enhanced the soil's fertility, making it possible for the civilizations of the Amazon to grow enough food to sustain large, thriving populations. It's an agricultural technique that seems to have been unique to this region, allowing these ancient peoples to transform what would have been a hostile environment into one of abundance. Historians still argue about the extent of these agricultural systems. Some scholars believe they were isolated to small areas, while others argue that these farming techniques were far more widespread, supporting a vast network of cities across the Amazon basin. Regardless of the scope, one thing is clear. These civilizations were not only resourceful, they were masters of their environment, capable of turning the unforgiving jungle into a place of sustenance and growth. And then there's the question of the cities themselves. Some of the most remarkable findings in recent years involve massive, previously unknown urban centers scattered throughout the Amazon. These cities, many of which were only discovered using cutting-edge technologies like LiDAR, show that the people of the Amazon were capable of building large, interconnected societies that rivaled the greatest civilizations of the ancient world. These urban centers weren't just a collection of buildings. They were carefully designed, organized systems, complete with plazas, roads, ceremonial spaces, and complex infrastructure. Perhaps one of the most surprising discoveries is that many of these cities appear to have been connected by a network of roads and canals. This discovery further challenges the idea that the Amazon was too challenging to support large urban networks. The roads suggest that the people of the Amazon were not isolated, but part of a larger system. Trade, culture, and ideas flowed between cities, much like the great cities of Mesopotamia, Egypt, or the Inca Empire. Despite these breakthroughs, questions remain. Why did these civilizations disappear? What caused their downfall? Could it have been a combination of internal factors, such as overpopulation or resource depletion, combined with external pressures like the arrival of European colonists and the diseases they brought? Or was it simply the cyclical nature of life in the Amazon, where civilizations rise and fall in tune with the rhythms of the environment. The mystery surrounding these ancient cities only deepens as more evidence surfaces. While historians still debate their exact role in shaping the region, one thing is clear. The lost cities of the Amazon were not mere myths or exaggerations. They were real, thriving civilizations that have long been swallowed by the jungle. And as technology continues to advance, who knows what else might be uncovered in the future? As you stand in the midst of these ruins, the magnitude of the past begins to feel overwhelming. The jungle, once a mysterious backdrop to the stories of lost cities, now seems to hold a far deeper connection to those who lived here. The very soil beneath your feet is a testament to a forgotten world, one that was lost not because it was weak or fleeting, but because time and nature conspired to hide its legacy. The question now, as it always has been, is this: what other secrets does the Amazon still hold, and who will be the ones to uncover them? So, the more you sense the pulse of history beneath your feet, faint but steady, like a heartbeat that's never truly stopped. The air is thick with anticipation. Each step you take is another step back in time, unraveling the ancient story of the Amazon, an untold narrative of complex societies and forgotten cities that thrived and fell, swallowed by the very jungle they once tamed. As you look at the ruins around you, overgrown but still standing strong, you can't help but wonder how many more secrets lie hidden under layers of green, waiting to be uncovered. The discoveries you've encountered so far have been nothing short of revolutionary. The ancient cities you've stumbled upon, though weathered and overrun by nature, still whisper of a time when they were centers of life, culture, and power. The more archaeologists dig, the more they realize that these lost cities were not the small, isolated outposts once thought to be the norm. They were urban metropolises, their infrastructure and complexity comparable to the greatest cities of the ancient world. As new evidence continues to surface, one of the most significant revelations is the true scale of these cities. The once thought primitive Amazonian societies were capable of constructing monumental architecture. In places like the Brazilian Amazon, vast complexes of earthworks have been found, some spanning hundreds of square miles. These large-scale urban projects point to a society that had both the manpower and organizational ability to create thriving metropolises within the dense jungle. Even more fascinating is the discovery that many of these cities were interconnected, both through their roads and through trade. Trade routes, sprawling networks of carefully crafted roads and canals, reveal that these Amazonian civilizations were not isolated. They were deeply engaged in cultural exchange, creating trade hubs that linked cities together. The evidence of ancient roads has given us a glimpse into how these people navigated the otherwise impassable landscape of the Amazon, proving that, while the jungle may seem impenetrable today, the ancient inhabitants knew how to work with it, transforming it into a transportation network that spanned vast regions. Historians and archaeologists still argue about the extent of these cities' influence. Were these urban centers part of a larger, unified civilization, or were they isolated city-states that developed independently? Some suggest that these cities were part of a greater network, a thriving civilization that spanned the entire Amazon basin. Others argue that they were smaller, independent communities, each with its own unique culture, but connected by trade and shared knowledge. Whatever the case, the discoveries made thus far are changing the way we think about the Amazon. No longer can we view this vast region as an untouched wilderness, a land so inhospitable that it could never have supported complex civilizations. The evidence now shows that the ancient civilizations of the Amazon were far more advanced than we ever realized. They developed intricate systems of agriculture, urban planning, and trade that allowed them to flourish in one of the most challenging environments on Earth. One of the most groundbreaking discoveries in recent years has been the revelation of large-scale agricultural systems, far more complex than previously thought. Archaeologists have uncovered evidence of terraces, irrigation channels, and other sophisticated agricultural techniques that allowed these ancient civilizations to produce enough food to sustain large populations. The use of terra preta, the nutrient-rich soil created by these ancient peoples, allowed them to cultivate crops in a region where farming would have otherwise been nearly impossible. This agricultural innovation was key to their ability to establish permanent settlements and thrive in the heart of the Amazon. But with all these revelations, there are still more questions than answers. Why did these civilizations fall? What caused their disappearance from the land? Some scholars argue that it was the arrival of Europeans, along with diseases, warfare, and colonization, that led to the collapse of these great cities. Others believe that environmental factors, such as droughts or flooding, may have played a role in their downfall. Some even suggest that the societies of the Amazon simply outgrew their environment, causing them to collapse under the pressure of overpopulation and resource depletion. It's a mystery that may never be solved entirely. But as new technologies allow us to peer deeper into the jungle, we continue to uncover more about these long-lost civilizations. Remote sensing technologies like LiDAR have revealed hidden structures beneath the dense jungle canopy, giving us a clearer picture of the urban landscape that once existed here. And as more researchers and explorers venture into the Amazon, there's no telling how much more we'll learn about these enigmatic peoples and their incredible achievements. The Amazon, it seems, holds its secrets tightly, revealing them only to those with the patience, skill, and determination to uncover them. And while the lost cities of the Amazon may never be fully understood, the journey to uncover their mysteries is far from over. Each new discovery opens up fresh possibilities, pushing the boundaries of our knowledge and understanding. The jungle still holds much of its past in the shadows, but with every expedition, we get one step closer to revealing its true history. Historians still argue whether the civilizations of the Amazon were as advanced as those in other parts of the world. But as the discoveries continue to mount, it's clear that these ancient peoples were far more sophisticated than we once believed. The lost cities of the Amazon are not merely the stuff of myth. They were real, and their legacy continues to shape our understanding of the past. The question remains, how much more will we uncover in the years to come? It feels even thicker as you make your way through it now. Every step seems to take you further back in time, into a world that's been swallowed by the relentless march of nature. The Amazon, despite its appearance of untamed wilderness, is beginning to feel like an ancient, forgotten kingdom, its secrets hidden beneath layers of soil and roots, waiting to be uncovered. The ruins you've come across tell stories that have long been lost, stories of great cities, advanced technologies, and cultures that once flourished in a place many considered too harsh for civilization to survive. As you move deeper into the jungle, it becomes clear that these ancient civilizations didn't just survive here, they thrived. The evidence is overwhelming. Hidden beneath the thick canopy, archaeologists have uncovered complex road networks that stretch across vast distances. These roads, built to link cities and trade routes, suggest a level of planning and organization far beyond what we once thought possible for a jungle-based society. These ancient people, it seems, were far more sophisticated than we ever imagined. The evidence of these road networks has led some archaeologists to believe that the lost cities of the Amazon were part of an expansive civilization that spanned across the entire Amazon basin. These cities weren't isolated. They were interconnected hubs of culture, trade, and innovation. The roads that linked them were not just pathways. They were veins in the lifeblood of a civilization that understood how to manipulate its environment to suit its needs. But these ancient cities were not just known for their roads. They were also known for their impressive engineering feats. The sheer scale of the cities and their infrastructure speaks to a level of organization that we once believed impossible for civilizations living in such a challenging environment. Some of the most impressive discoveries have been the massive earthen mounds and terraces, which appear to have been built for both agriculture and defense. These earthworks were likely part of an organized effort to control the land and manage resources, ensuring that these civilizations could sustain their populations and grow. Historians still argue whether these mounds were strictly for agricultural purposes or whether they served a broader, more complex role in the cultural and spiritual practices of these societies. The fact that many of these earthen mounds are aligned with celestial events such as solstices or equinoxes, suggests that the ancient people of the Amazon were deeply attuned to the natural world. They may have built these structures not only to shape the land, but also to connect with the cosmos, a practice common among many ancient civilizations. Even more extraordinary is the discovery of intricate water systems that appear to have been used for both irrigation and transportation. These systems, made up of canals, reservoirs, and water channels, reveal that these ancient people were not only skilled engineers, but also incredibly resourceful. In a land where rainfall is unpredictable, managing water effectively would have been critical to sustaining a large civilization. The fact that these water systems have remained hidden for so long speaks to the ingenuity of the people who built them. It's a testament to their ability to adapt to the environment, shaping it to fit their needs. Despite the overwhelming evidence, questions remain. Historians still debate how these civilizations were able to maintain such complex infrastructures in the face of the Amazon's unpredictable environment. The fact that many of these cities were built along rivers suggests that water played a critical role in their development. But it's unclear how these civilizations were able to sustain themselves over long periods of time. Some argue that the people of the Amazon relied heavily on agriculture, growing crops like manioc and maize, while others suggest that they were skilled hunters and gatherers who used the surrounding rainforest to supply their needs. The mystery of why these civilizations ultimately fell remains one of the biggest questions surrounding the lost cities of the Amazon. Some scholars argue that the arrival of Europeans, with their diseases and wars, led to the collapse of these civilizations. Others suggest that environmental factors, such as changing climate patterns or resource depletion, may have played a role. Still, others propose that the rise of internal conflict or overpopulation may have led to the eventual downfall of these great cities. As you make your way through the jungle, you can't help but wonder if the answer lies hidden somewhere, just beyond the reach of the modern world. The Amazon's lost cities are still waiting to be uncovered, their mysteries waiting to be unraveled. Every new discovery opens up new questions, and each new question brings you one step closer to understanding a past that was lost long ago. One thing is certain: the more we uncover, the more we realize that the Amazon is not just a place of myth and legend. It is a place of forgotten history. A history that, with each new discovery, becomes more complex and more fascinating. And the lost cities of the Amazon, once thought to be nothing more than fanciful tales, are now emerging from the shadows, their secrets waiting to be uncovered. As technology continues to evolve, who knows what else the jungle will reveal? The debate among historians and archaeologists continues, but it's becoming increasingly clear that these ancient civilizations were not only capable of surviving in the Amazon, they were masters of it. They built cities, roads, and infrastructure that allowed them to thrive in one of the world's most challenging environments. The Amazon may still hold many secrets, but with each passing year, we're getting closer to unlocking them all. The jungle thickens again as you push forward, the sound of distant birds and the hum of insects creating a constant, rhythmic backdrop. You are no longer just walking through the Amazon. You are navigating through a living time capsule, a place where every step feels like it's taking you further into the depths of history. The ruins you've encountered continue to stir your imagination, each one speaking of a world long gone but never truly forgotten. You can't help but marvel at how these ancient civilizations shaped this landscape, how they carved out their existence in one of the most challenging environments known to humanity. One of the most remarkable aspects of these lost cities is the way the ancient peoples of the Amazon managed their environment. As you journey deeper into the heart of the rainforest, you start to see the scale of their efforts. Vast agricultural fields, systems of irrigation that stretch across the land, and structures that, though covered in moss, still bear the marks of careful planning and design. What's most striking is the realization that these civilizations did not simply survive. They thrived, building cities that were capable of supporting large populations in an environment that most thought was inhospitable to human life. The more you learn, the more you understand just how sophisticated these civilizations were. The ancient peoples of the Amazon were masters of their environment, using innovative techniques to transform the land into something sustainable. The discovery of extensive agricultural systems, carefully crafted terraces and canals, speaks to a culture deeply attuned to the rhythms of nature. These systems weren't just about survival, they were about creating a way of life that could endure for generations, one that allowed people to live in harmony with the forest rather than fight against it. You pause for a moment and take in your surroundings. The jungle is alive with sound. Rustling leaves, the call of distant animals, the hum of insects. But amidst this noise, there's an eerie stillness in the air, as if the land itself is waiting, holding its breath, as though everything is on the verge of revelation. With each new discovery, the pieces of the puzzle start to fall into place. The lost cities weren't just isolated settlements. They were part of a vast, interconnected network, with roads, canals, and trade routes linking them together. It's this interconnectedness that's so striking. The cities of the Amazon weren't just isolated pockets of civilization. They were hubs in a larger system, a network that spanned vast distances. Researchers now believe that the ancient civilizations of the Amazon were part of a far-reaching cultural exchange, one that allowed them to share ideas, goods, and knowledge across great distances. The roads and canals that connected them were not just functional, they were the arteries of a thriving, interconnected world. This network helped these cities flourish, enabling them to support complex economies, trade, and cultural exchange. Yet, as the discoveries unfold, the mystery deepens. Historians and archaeologists continue to debate whether these civilizations were truly part of a single unified culture or whether they were smaller, independent groups, each with its own identity and customs, but bound together by trade and shared resources. The evidence of interconnected roads and canals suggests a level of unity, but the variety in architectural styles and the differing cultural practices found across the region points to the possibility of multiple distinct cultures coexisting in the Amazon, each contributing to the greater whole. Whatever the case may be, the evidence suggests that the Amazon was far more than a place of myth. It was the heart of a vibrant, thriving world, one that existed long before the arrival of Europeans. The discovery of large, urban centers, interconnected networks, and sophisticated agricultural systems paints a picture of a civilization that was capable of feats we once thought impossible for this part of the world. The question now, as it always has been, is why these cities disappeared. Theories abound. Some suggest that the ancient civilizations of the Amazon fell due to environmental factors, such as changing climate patterns or resource depletion. Others argue that the arrival of Europeans, with their diseases, warfare, and colonization, played a decisive role in the downfall of these societies. Still, there are those who believe that internal factors, such as overpopulation, political instability, or warfare, could have led to the collapse of these great cities. Despite the uncertainties surrounding their downfall, what remains clear is that the ancient civilizations of the Amazon were far more advanced than we ever imagined. They understood the land in ways that modern society is just beginning to understand, creating sustainable systems that allowed them to thrive in one of the world's most challenging environments. The lost cities of the Amazon were not isolated, primitive settlements. They were part of a complex, interconnected world that spanned vast distances and spanned centuries. As you stand among the ruins of these lost cities, you realize that you are only scratching the surface of what is still hidden within the depths of the Amazon. The jungle may have swallowed much of this world, but it has not erased it. The cities, the roads, the canals, all are still there, buried beneath the thick canopy, waiting to be rediscovered. And as technology continues to advance, who knows what new revelations will come to light? What other secrets does the jungle hold? Historians and archaeologists are still debating the true scope of the ancient civilizations of the Amazon. Were they part of a single, unified culture, or were they a collection of distinct societies, each with its own identity? The answer may never be fully understood, but what is clear is that the Amazon was home to a rich and complex world, one that was far from the untamed wilderness we once thought it to be. The search for these lost cities is far from over. Every new discovery brings us one step closer to unraveling the mystery of the Amazon's ancient past. The cities, roads, and cultures of the Amazon are not just tales, they are part of the real, tangible history of this extraordinary place. And as we continue to explore, we'll uncover more of the secrets that this vast jungle holds, uncovering the lost cities, civilizations, and histories that have been buried beneath the trees for centuries. The deeper you travel into the heart of the Amazon, the more you realize that the jungle has a way of taking hold of you. It's not just the weight of the humidity or the dense air, it's the sheer magnitude of history that surrounds you. The very ground beneath your feet feels charged with the energy of ancient civilizations. With each step, the Amazon reveals itself as not just a place, but a world, one that was built, shaped, and lived in by people whose legacy has long been hidden in the shadows of the trees. Every discovery you make seems to raise more questions than answers. The ruins of once thriving cities stand as testament to the people who once walked this land, and their echoes can still be heard in the rustling of the leaves, the quiet murmur of the rivers, and the whispers of the jungle itself. These ancient civilizations were not just survivors, they were innovators, builders, and architects who understood the land in a way that we are only beginning to grasp. The more you learn, the more it becomes clear. The cities of the Amazon were far from the mythic, elusive places of legend. They were real, vibrant communities that once teemed with life. One of the most remarkable discoveries is the evidence of complex urban planning. The ancient cities of the Amazon were not haphazardly built. They were carefully designed, with streets laid out in a deliberate pattern. These cities weren't just collections of homes. They were organized, thriving centers with large public spaces, ceremonial areas, and systems of governance. The use of roads and canals to connect these cities suggests that these ancient peoples were not just isolated groups. They were part of a larger, interconnected network that spanned vast distances across the Amazon basin. This interconnectedness is one of the most striking aspects of these lost cities. Many of the roads that link the cities appear to have been built with great precision, utilizing the natural landscape to guide them. Some researchers have even suggested that these roads were built not only for practical purposes, but also for ceremonial and spiritual reasons. The idea that these ancient cities were connected by a web of roads and canals suggests a level of cultural and spiritual unity that we hadn't previously imagined. But it's not just the physical layout of the cities that speaks to their complexity, it's the evidence of their agricultural practices. The discovery of vast agricultural systems, including terracing, irrigation, and the use of terra preta, the nutrient-rich soil created by mixing charcoal, bones, and organic matter, reveals how these ancient peoples were able to sustain large populations in an otherwise challenging environment. The ability to cultivate crops on such a large scale allowed these civilizations to thrive in the heart of the jungle, supporting dense urban populations that were capable of great feats. The agricultural techniques discovered so far point to a deep understanding of the environment, one that was honed over centuries. It's clear that these people didn't just use the land, they shaped it, creating fertile soil where none existed. This innovative use of the landscape was key to their ability to create lasting settlements. It's also a reminder of the ingenuity and resourcefulness of these ancient cultures. People who, far from being primitive, were able to create sustainable societies in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Historians still argue whether these civilizations were truly as advanced as the evidence suggests. Some believe that the ancient people of the Amazon were simply using trial and error to develop effective agricultural systems, while others argue that these societies were highly organized with sophisticated knowledge of engineering, ecology, and resource management. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is clear. The ancient civilizations of the Amazon were far more complex and capable than we once thought. And yet, despite all of the evidence of their achievements, there is still so much we don't know. The fate of these civilizations remains one of the greatest mysteries of the Amazon. Why did they disappear? Some argue that the arrival of Europeans with their diseases and wars led to the downfall of these civilizations. Others suggest that environmental changes, such as droughts or floods, may have played a role in their collapse. There is even speculation that the civilizations of the Amazon may have eventually overexploited their land, causing their own downfall. Whatever the cause, the disappearance of these great cities adds another layer of mystery to the Amazon's already enigmatic history. The ruins that remain tell the story of a civilization that once thrived here but vanished, leaving behind only traces of their existence. It's a reminder of the fragility of human achievement and how even the greatest civilizations can be swept away by the forces of time, nature, or external forces. As you continue your journey, you begin to wonder, what more could be hidden in the depths of this vast jungle? The lost cities of the Amazon, once thought to be nothing more than myth, are now being revealed for what they truly are. Ancient, complex societies with rich histories and cultures. And as technology advances and new discoveries are made, the Amazon's secrets continue to surface, offering a deeper understanding of this incredible place. Historians continue to debate the true scope and nature of these ancient civilizations, but there's no denying that they were far more advanced than we ever imagined. The cities, roads, and agricultural systems of the Amazon reveal a culture that was not only capable of surviving in the jungle, but of thriving there, building complex societies that spanned vast distances. The search for these lost cities is far from over, and with each new discovery, we get closer to uncovering the full story of the civilizations that once called the Amazon home. You venture into the jungle, the more you feel like you're walking through a living, breathing tapestry of history. The dense canopy above you flickers with the play of light and shadow, as though the very trees are trying to hide the secrets they've held for centuries. It's easy to get lost in the beauty and complexity of the environment around you, but it's impossible to ignore the nagging question: what else is out there? What more does the jungle still hide? With each new discovery, it feels like the Amazon slowly uncovers its past, one layer at a time. One of the most exciting aspects of this journey is realizing that these lost cities weren't just isolated or disconnected. The more archaeologists and explorers have uncovered, the clearer it becomes that these ancient civilizations were deeply intertwined. The roads, canals, and networks linking these cities suggest that the people of the Amazon were not solitary communities as once believed. They were part of an intricate web of cultures and societies that spanned a vast region, exchanging goods, ideas, and knowledge. The discovery of these networks of roads and canals is one of the most fascinating aspects of this unfolding story. These routes, some stretching for miles, are much more than just functional. They are a testament to the ingenuity of the people who built them. Many of these roads were designed with an almost artistic precision, winding through the dense jungle and utilizing the natural landscape to their advantage. The canals that connected these cities weren't just pathways for water. They were channels of communication, trade, and culture, allowing goods and ideas to flow freely between communities. What's particularly striking about these networks is their scale. The vastness of the road and canal systems suggests that these civilizations were not just isolated pockets of humanity, but were part of a much larger, interconnected civilization. The discovery of these roads and canals is forcing us to rethink everything we once believed about the ancient cultures of the Amazon. These people were capable of creating a network that linked cities over vast distances, an achievement that challenges the traditional view of the Amazon as a wild, uninhabitable place. And these discoveries continue to surprise. Some of the roads and canals have been found to be far more sophisticated than originally thought. Recent studies have shown that some of the roads were engineered to avoid flood zones, and others appear to have been built to align with astronomical events, suggesting that these roads were not just for transportation, but were also tied to the spiritual and cultural practices of the people who created them. Some even speculate that the paths of the roads were aligned with the movement of the sun and stars, creating a kind of cosmic map that connected the cities not just physically, but symbolically as well. The more you learn, the more you realize how deeply the ancient civilizations of the Amazon understood their environment. They didn't just build cities, they created systems that worked in harmony with the land. Their agricultural systems, their urban planning, and their trade networks all reveal a deep knowledge of the world around them and a profound ability to adapt and thrive in one of the most challenging environments on Earth. But there are still so many unanswered questions. The fate of these civilizations remains one of the greatest mysteries of the Amazon. How did these advanced societies fall? What caused them to vanish, leaving only the traces of their once great cities behind? Some scholars suggest that environmental factors, such as droughts or floods, may have contributed to their downfall. Others point to the arrival of Europeans, whose diseases and colonization may have devastated the native populations. Yet, there is also the possibility that the civilizations of the Amazon simply outgrew their environment, leading to the collapse of their complex societies. The question of why these cities disappeared is one that has plagued explorers and historians for centuries. There's no definitive answer, but with every new discovery, we come one step closer to understanding what happened. Perhaps the answer lies in a combination of factors: environmental, cultural, and external pressures that led to the collapse of these once thriving societies. Despite these challenges, the search for the lost cities of the Amazon continues. With new technologies like LiDAR and satellite imaging, we are able to see beneath the dense canopy of the rainforest and uncover the hidden remains of these ancient cities. The discoveries of the past few decades have fundamentally changed our understanding of the Amazon, revealing a world that was far more sophisticated and interconnected than we ever imagined. As you stand in the midst of the jungle, surrounded by the crumbling ruins of what were once bustling cities, it's hard not to feel a sense of awe. These ancient people were not just survivors. They were innovators, creators, and builders who managed to thrive in one of the most challenging environments on Earth. The cities they built, the roads they created, and the agricultural systems they developed speak to a level of intelligence and resourcefulness that challenges our assumptions about pre-Columbian civilizations. And still, the Amazon holds its secrets. There are likely many more discoveries to be made in the years to come. With every new expedition, with every new piece of technology, we get closer to understanding the lost cities and forgotten cultures of the Amazon. As you look around you, it's clear the jungle has not finished revealing its history. The lost cities may be gone, but their legacy is far from forgotten. And as the mysteries of the Amazon continue to unfold, we are left to ponder what other wonders lie buried beneath the trees, waiting for the next explorer to uncover them. The more you journey through the Amazon, the more you begin to feel that it is not just a place, but a living, breathing entity that holds its secrets close, reluctant to give them up. With every new discovery, you feel as if you are peeling away the layers of a story that stretches back millennia, a story of great civilizations that once flourished in this dense, unforgiving jungle. Each step you take brings you closer to understanding a past that was lost, yet still echoes in the rustling leaves, the swirling rivers, and the towering trees. One of the most intriguing aspects of the lost cities of the Amazon is their relationship with the environment. The people who built these cities didn't just survive in the jungle. They understood it. They adapted to its rhythms, harnessing the land's natural resources in ways that we are only beginning to understand. The use of terra preta, the nutrient-rich soil created by adding charcoal and organic matter to the earth, is one of the most significant discoveries in understanding how these civilizations thrived. It wasn't just that they lived off the land. It was that they transformed the land, shaping it to suit their needs in a way that allowed them to build flourishing societies. The terra preta, which has been found in many ancient settlement sites, is a testament to the ancient people's deep understanding of the environment. The soil is remarkably fertile, far more so than the surrounding land, and it was created by human intervention, by mixing charcoal, bones, and other organic materials into the earth. This process not only enriched the soil, but helped it retain nutrients in a region where the soil typically lacks the ability to do so. It's clear now that the people who lived here knew how to use fire, organic waste, and other materials to cultivate crops in a sustainable way that would allow them to thrive in the heart of the Amazon. This agricultural knowledge wasn't just for survival. It was key to building the complex societies that once inhabited these lost cities. With fertile soil, the people were able to sustain large populations and create cities capable of supporting thousands of people. The discovery of vast agricultural terraces, irrigation systems, and even evidence of crop rotation indicates that these ancient civilizations were not only adept at farming, they were masters of it. This knowledge allowed them to control their environment in ways that modern-day societies are still working to replicate. But despite their agricultural prowess, the question of how these civilizations met their end remains a mystery. There is still much debate over whether environmental changes, such as flooding, droughts, or soil depletion, led to the downfall of these societies, or if the arrival of European explorers and the diseases they brought caused their collapse. Some believe that internal strife, perhaps driven by overpopulation or the overexploitation of resources, could have also played a role. Whatever the cause, the cities of the Amazon, once home to thriving populations, were abandoned, leaving behind only their ruins and their secrets. The discoveries of the past few decades have shown that the Amazon was not just a wild, untamed jungle. It was home to thriving, complex civilizations with advanced agricultural, architectural, and cultural practices. But even with these revelations, the true scope of what existed here remains elusive. The jungle, with its thick canopy and dense vegetation, has done its best to conceal the cities that once stood here. But slowly, with the help of modern technology, the secrets of the Amazon are being revealed. LiDAR technology, which uses laser pulses to scan the ground and map what lies beneath the forest canopy, has been instrumental in uncovering hidden structures. Entire cities that were once invisible to the naked eye have now come into view, their roads, buildings, and agricultural systems clearly visible. The use of LiDAR has changed the way we think about the Amazon, showing that it was home to a vast network of interconnected cities, not isolated villages as once believed. These cities were part of a much larger system, an advanced civilization that spanned the entire Amazon basin, its roads and canals connecting settlements over vast distances. Still, much remains to be discovered. While LiDAR has revealed much, the true scale of these lost cities is still being uncovered. Some of the most fascinating finds are in the remote areas of the Amazon, where the canopy has hidden entire cities beneath its green veil. The more that is revealed, the clearer it becomes that the Amazon was home to a thriving, interconnected civilization that rivaled any in the ancient world. And yet, even as the cities of the Amazon begin to reappear, they remain shrouded in mystery. Why did these cities vanish? What happened to the people who built them? Were they lost to time, swallowed up by the jungle, or was there a more tragic cause for their disappearance? The answers may never fully come to light, but the search for them continues, driving explorers, archaeologists, and historians to seek the truth. The lost cities of the Amazon offer a glimpse into a world that has been hidden for centuries, a world that existed long before European explorers set foot on this land. The civilizations that built these cities were sophisticated, resourceful, and incredibly advanced, shaping their environment to suit their needs and creating complex societies that thrived in the heart of the jungle. As the jungle slowly reveals its secrets, we are left with the tantalizing question: what else remains hidden in this vast, unexplored region? The search for the answers to that question continues, one discovery at a time. Venture into the depths of the Amazon, the more you realize how vast and untapped this ancient world truly is. There's a tangible weight to the air, a sense of being surrounded by something far greater than yourself, a feeling that these jungles have witnessed more history than we could possibly comprehend. Yet, the more we uncover, the clearer it becomes. The Amazon was once home to vibrant cities, bustling with life, and connected by roads and waterways. It wasn't just a collection of isolated villages, as many once believed. It was an advanced, complex civilization, thriving in ways that we are only beginning to understand. Among the most extraordinary discoveries in the search for the lost cities of the Amazon is the revelation that these ancient civilizations didn't just build cities, they built entire systems. The roads, canals, and agricultural terraces uncovered in recent years suggest a level of organization and coordination that was at one time thought impossible in such a dense, unforgiving jungle. These systems, paths of communication, transportation, and trade, were the lifeblood of these civilizations. The cities were not isolated. They were part of a much larger network where goods, ideas, and knowledge flowed freely between communities. In recent years, new technologies have brought us closer than ever to unlocking the full story of the Amazon's lost cities. The use of LiDAR, light detection and ranging technology, which uses laser pulses to scan the ground beneath dense tree canopies, has allowed archaeologists to discover entire cities and urban networks that were once invisible. One of the most remarkable findings is the discovery of ancient roads that connect previously unknown settlements, stretching across hundreds of miles of jungle. These roads aren't just paths, they are evidence of a complex system of transportation and trade, stretching across the entire Amazon basin. Some of these roads seem to have been built with great care, following natural contours of the land, weaving through floodplains and avoiding dense forests. What's even more astonishing is the scale of these roads. They appear to have been constructed not only to connect cities, but also to create a system of trade and communication. The idea that such a vast network could exist in the heart of one of the world's most dense rainforests is revolutionary. It forces us to reconsider everything we thought we knew about the civilizations that lived here. Yet, the mystery deepens. The question remains, why did these advanced cities, connected by roads, canals, and thriving trade networks, ultimately disappear? Some believe that environmental factors may have contributed to their decline. Perhaps prolonged droughts, flooding, or soil depletion caused by overuse could have weakened these civilizations, making it difficult for them to sustain large populations. Others suggest that the arrival of European explorers, with their diseases, wars, and colonization, may have been the catalyst for their downfall. Some even theorize that internal conflict, population pressures, or political instability played a role in the collapse of these once great cities. While the reasons for their decline are still up for debate, one thing is clear. The civilizations of the Amazon were far more sophisticated than we ever imagined. They were capable of building monumental cities, developing advanced agricultural systems, and creating intricate trade networks that spanned vast distances. These cities weren't just small villages, they were grand centers of culture, governance, and spirituality, connected by roads that served as the arteries of their society. The discovery of these roads and trade routes has led many scholars to believe that the Amazon's lost civilizations were part of a far-reaching, interconnected world. It's not just about individual cities, it's about a network of civilizations, each one contributing to the larger whole. These civilizations were not isolated, but part of a much larger cultural and economic system that spanned across the vast expanse of the Amazon basin. It's a revelation that challenges our previous understanding of pre-Columbian history. In the midst of these discoveries, it's easy to get lost in the scale of what's being uncovered. The more we learn, the more it becomes clear that the civilizations of the Amazon were not primitive. They were complex, interconnected, and capable of feats that rivaled those of the great civilizations of Europe and Asia. And yet, as much as we've discovered, there is still so much more to uncover. The jungle, with its dense canopy and lush undergrowth, holds its secrets tightly, only revealing them in fragments, piece by piece. Each new discovery brings us closer to understanding how these civilizations lived, what they valued, and how they shaped their environment. Yet with every step forward, the question of why they disappeared lingers. It's a mystery that may never fully be solved, but it's one that continues to captivate explorers and historians alike. As technology continues to evolve, we will undoubtedly continue to uncover more of the Amazon's ancient secrets, slowly piecing together the story of a civilization that was once lost, now beginning to reemerge from the shadows of the past. Historians still argue about the extent of the network of cities and civilizations that once thrived in the Amazon. Were these cities part of a single unified empire, or were they independent, autonomous societies that shared cultural practices and trade routes? What is clear, however, is that the Amazon was once home to a thriving, complex network of cities and cultures, all connected by a vast system of roads, canals, and trade networks. As you move through the jungle, the deeper you go, the more you realize that the Amazon is not just a place, it is a treasure trove of lost histories, and untold stories. And with each new discovery, we come one step closer to uncovering the mysteries of the civilizations that once called this dense, mysterious place home. The lost cities of the Amazon are real, and their stories are waiting to be told. The closer you get to the heart of the Amazon, the more the jungle feels like an ancient keeper of secrets, an entity that watches as you navigate its dense, unyielding terrain. With every step, the mysteries seem to multiply, and it becomes clear. This place has seen centuries of history unfold, and much of it remains hidden beneath layers of green, waiting for the right person, the right technology to uncover it. As you move forward, the whispers of past civilizations grow louder, and the remnants of what once was begin to emerge, like fragments of a story written in the very landscape itself. The lost cities of the Amazon were not just mythical stories passed down through generations. They were real, tangible places that once thrived in a way that modern society is only beginning to understand. These cities, though abandoned and reclaimed by the jungle, still have a presence, as if the land itself holds on to the memory of its past. And now, with new tools and modern technology, we're seeing these forgotten urban landscapes come back into focus, revealing the complexity and grandeur of the societies that once called them home. The recent discoveries made by archaeologists using LiDAR and other remote sensing technologies have begun to reshape our understanding of the Amazon. Hidden beneath the thick canopy of trees, ancient cities that were once thought to be nothing more than legend are coming into view. Roads, plazas, temples, and even massive earthworks are revealing the true scale of these urban centers. What was once a distant myth is now undeniable evidence of a civilization that spanned vast regions of the Amazon basin. But as much as these discoveries are reshaping history, they are also raising new questions. Who were these people who built these cities, and how did they manage to create such advanced societies in one of the most unforgiving environments on Earth? The roads and canals they built, which stretch across hundreds of miles, tell us that they were masters of engineering, capable of manipulating the landscape to create a sustainable network of cities. Yet, the exact mechanics of how they were able to do this remain shrouded in mystery. The first clue comes from the agricultural systems these ancient peoples developed. In an environment where fertile soil is scarce and the challenges of agriculture are immense, these civilizations found a way to thrive. They developed intricate systems of irrigation, crop rotation, and soil management that allowed them to feed large populations. The discovery of terra preta, or black earth, is a testament to their agricultural expertise. This rich, dark soil, created by mixing charcoal and organic material, helped them create fertile land in an otherwise nutrient-poor region. It was a crucial factor in their ability to support urban centers that were capable of sustaining thousands of people. But these ancient societies weren't just skilled farmers. The cities they built were well planned, with streets, plazas, and ceremonial spaces that hint at a sophisticated culture. The roads that connected them were not simply practical. They were part of an elaborate system that allowed goods, ideas, and people to flow freely between cities. Some of these roads were carefully designed to align with the natural features of the land, following riverbanks and avoiding flood zones. Others may have had symbolic significance, with their construction tied to astronomical events or religious rituals. Yet, even as we uncover more about these lost cities, the question remains, why did they disappear? Theories abound, with some suggesting that the cities fell due to environmental factors like droughts, floods, or deforestation. Others point to the arrival of Europeans, with the diseases and conflicts they brought, as the catalyst for the collapse of these civilizations. Still, others propose that internal strife, overpopulation, or the overuse of resources could have contributed to their downfall. Regardless of the cause, the fact remains that these societies were incredibly advanced, and their disappearance has left a void in our understanding of ancient history. One of the most intriguing aspects of these discoveries is the connection between the cities and their surrounding environments. It's clear now that these civilizations did not just live in the Amazon, they were inextricably linked to it. They shaped the landscape to suit their needs, using their understanding of the environment to build systems that could support large, urban populations. The cities were not isolated from nature. They were an integral part of it. The people who built these cities had a deep symbiotic relationship with the land, one that allowed them to create sustainable systems of agriculture, trade, and governance. This deep connection to the environment is one of the reasons why the lost cities of the Amazon are so fascinating. Unlike other ancient civilizations that built cities in more predictable environments, the civilizations of the Amazon thrived in a landscape that is notoriously difficult to tame. The people who lived here found ways to adapt to the jungle, turning it into an asset rather than a hindrance. They understood the rhythms of the land, the ebb and flow of the rivers, the seasonal cycles of rainfall, the intricacies of the soil, and used that knowledge to build civilizations that lasted for centuries. As you continue to explore, the sense of awe grows. These cities, though hidden in the jungle for centuries, were once bustling centers of life. Their streets filled with traders, craftsmen, and farmers. Their plazas alive with ritual and ceremony. These were places of culture and innovation, built by people who understood the land in ways that modern society is still striving to understand. The discoveries of the past few decades have begun to unveil a new picture of the Amazon, a place where ancient civilizations thrived, connected by roads and waterways, their cities standing as monuments to their achievements. Historians still debate whether the civilizations of the Amazon were part of a single, unified empire or a collection of independent city-states, but the evidence is clear. The Amazon was home to complex, advanced societies that were capable of building great cities, developing intricate systems of agriculture, and creating vast networks of roads and canals. The Amazon was not a wilderness, but a place where civilizations thrived, if only for a time. The lost cities of the Amazon continue to captivate the imagination, and with each new discovery, we inch closer to unlocking the full story of these ancient peoples. The jungle may still hold many secrets, but one thing is certain: the story of the Amazon's lost civilizations is far from over. It feels different now, as though it's aware of the presence of those searching for its secrets. There's a quiet intensity in the air, a feeling that history is about to reveal itself in ways we can't yet comprehend. The further you go, the more the Amazon feels like a living, breathing entity that holds its past with both reverence and mystery. It's as though the ground beneath your feet, the trees overhead, and the rivers that snake through the landscape are keeping a 1,000-year-old promise to those brave enough to seek the truth, that the lost cities of the Amazon were real, and their stories are waiting to be uncovered. The discoveries made in recent years have fundamentally altered our understanding of this region. For centuries, the Amazon was thought of as an inhospitable wilderness, too wild and dense for large, complex societies to survive. But as the layers of the jungle are peeled back, we see something entirely different: a picture of thriving cities, sophisticated cultures, and intricate systems that connected vast regions of the rainforest. The ancient civilizations of the Amazon were not only survivors, but builders, innovators, and creators who shaped their environment in ways that were once unimaginable. One of the most striking revelations has been the discovery of enormous road networks that crisscross the Amazon, linking the many cities hidden beneath the trees. These roads are more than just functional. They reveal a vision of society where people were not isolated, but part of a vast, interconnected world. The people of the Amazon were not simply living in the jungle. They were moving across it, building trade routes, forging connections, and creating communities that stretched across hundreds of miles. These roads were arteries, linking settlements that once thrived in a landscape thought too harsh for civilization to take root. What's even more remarkable is how advanced these roads were. Some were constructed with extraordinary precision, utilizing the natural contours of the land to avoid flood zones. And others appeared to follow the path of least resistance through the dense foliage, suggesting a deep understanding of both the land and the forces of nature. This wasn't just a matter of connecting cities. It was about creating a living, breathing network that allowed these civilizations to exchange goods, culture, and knowledge. The Amazon wasn't just a region of isolated pockets of life. It was a vast, interconnected world where people traveled, traded, and lived in ways that are only now becoming clear. Yet, despite these stunning revelations, there is still so much we don't know. The question remains, why did these civilizations fall? What happened to the great cities of the Amazon, and why did they disappear into the jungle, leaving behind only the faintest traces of their existence? As with so many ancient cultures, the reasons for their collapse are elusive, hidden beneath the overgrowth that has claimed so much of their history. Some scholars point to environmental factors, suggesting that these civilizations may have suffered from droughts, floods, or the depletion of the soil as a result of intensive farming practices. Others argue that the arrival of European explorers, with their diseases, wars, and colonization, could have decimated these populations. It's possible that the very advancements these civilizations relied on, such as agriculture and trade, were ultimately their downfall, leading to overpopulation, resource depletion, or internal conflict. Whatever the cause, the truth remains shrouded in mystery, and the jungle continues to keep its secrets close. Despite the mystery of their disappearance, the legacy of these ancient civilizations endures. The roads, canals, and agricultural systems they created are still there, hidden beneath the jungle, waiting for the next generation of explorers to uncover them. And each new discovery brings us closer to understanding the incredible achievements of the people who once called the Amazon home. One of the most striking aspects of these ancient civilizations is their relationship with the environment. Unlike many ancient societies, the people of the Amazon didn't seek to dominate nature. They lived in harmony with it. The advanced agricultural systems they developed, such as terracing, irrigation, and crop rotation, allowed them to cultivate the land in ways that supported large populations. The use of terra preta, the fertile soil created by adding charcoal and organic material, is a testament to their deep understanding of the environment and their ability to shape it to their needs. These ancient peoples didn't simply adapt to the jungle, they transformed it. They built cities, roads, and agricultural systems that allowed them to thrive in one of the most challenging environments on Earth. And in doing so, they left behind a legacy that still resonates today. The jungles of the Amazon may have hidden their cities for centuries, but they also preserved their story, waiting for the right moment to reveal it. As you walk through the dense undergrowth, the quiet hum of the jungle is a constant reminder that these civilizations were once here. The ruins you encounter, once grand, now weathered and overrun by nature, speak volumes about the lives that once filled these spaces. You can almost hear the echoes of the bustling cities, the markets, the people going about their daily routines. The Amazon was once a thriving, interconnected world, full of life, culture, and innovation. Historians and archaeologists continue to debate the true nature of these civilizations. Were they part of a single, unified culture, or were they a collection of independent societies? Did they thrive for centuries, or were they short-lived? We may never know all the answers, but what is clear is that the civilizations of the Amazon were far more advanced than we ever thought possible. The Amazon is still hiding its secrets, but with every new discovery, we come one step closer to unraveling the mysteries of its lost cities. The road ahead may be long, and the answers may be elusive, but one thing is certain: the journey to uncover the past is just beginning. The cities of the Amazon, though long abandoned, are waiting to be rediscovered, their stories waiting to be told. And with each new piece of the puzzle, we inch closer to understanding a world that was lost, but is now being brought back into the light. The jungle seems to close in around you as you walk deeper into the heart of the Amazon, each step taking you further away from the familiar world and into a realm where time feels suspended. You are surrounded by the remnants of an ancient civilization, whose stories have been buried beneath layers of thick vegetation and centuries of silence. The roads, canals, and ruins you've encountered all point to something greater: a world lost to time, hidden within the depths of the Amazon, waiting for discovery. The mystery of these lost cities continues to captivate the imagination, and with each new piece of the puzzle, the questions only grow. The more you learn about the civilizations that once inhabited this vast rainforest, the clearer it becomes that the Amazon was not an untamed wilderness. It was a thriving world, a hub of culture, trade, and innovation. The sophisticated agricultural systems, the intricate road networks, and the organized cities are evidence of a society that understood and manipulated the environment in ways that we are still working to comprehend. The Amazon was not a place to be conquered. It was a place that had been cultivated, shaped, and nurtured by the people who lived here. One of the most fascinating discoveries in recent years has been the identification of massive agricultural systems that spanned vast areas. The use of terra preta, the rich, fertile soil that was artificially created by the ancient peoples of the Amazon, is one of the most striking examples of how these civilizations were able to sustain large, complex societies. The creation of terra preta involved mixing charcoal, organic matter, and even human and animal bones into the soil, enriching it and making it capable of supporting crops in an otherwise nutrient-poor environment. This allowed the civilizations of the Amazon to thrive in a way that would have been impossible with the natural soil alone. The discovery of terra preta and other agricultural innovations suggests that these ancient peoples didn't simply survive in the jungle. They were able to create a sustainable way of life that supported large populations. The ability to cultivate crops like maize, manioc, and beans, and to support urban centers through advanced agricultural practices speaks to a deep understanding of the land and its cycles. They were not just living off the land, they were reshaping it, ensuring that it could provide for their needs for generations. Despite these remarkable achievements, the question remains, why did these civilizations disappear? What caused them to abandon their cities, leaving behind only the faintest traces of their once thriving societies? There are many theories, but the answer is still elusive. Some scholars argue that environmental factors, such as droughts, floods, or soil depletion, may have played a role in the collapse of these societies. Others point to the arrival of European explorers, whose diseases and conquests decimated indigenous populations. There is also speculation that internal factors, such as political instability, warfare, or overpopulation, may have contributed to the downfall of these great cities. While we may never know the exact cause of their disappearance, what is clear is that these civilizations were far more advanced than we ever imagined. They had the knowledge, the resources, and the ingenuity to create thriving urban centers in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Their cities, roads, and agricultural systems were not just practical, they were the result of centuries of innovation and adaptation. These were not primitive societies. They were complex, interconnected civilizations with a deep understanding of their environment and the ability to shape it to suit their needs. As you explore the ruins of these lost cities, you can't help but feel a sense of awe. The remnants of their once grand structures, plazas, temples, and ceremonial spaces speak to a culture that was as sophisticated as any in the ancient world. The fact that these cities were able to thrive for so long in such an unforgiving environment is a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of their people. And while these civilizations may have disappeared, their legacy lives on in the very landscape they created and shaped. The mysteries of the Amazon are far from being solved. Every discovery, every new piece of evidence raises more questions than it answers. What happened to these people? What caused the downfall of these once great cities? And what can we learn from their rise and fall? As technology continues to advance, and new technologies like LiDAR and satellite imaging allow us to uncover more of the Amazon's secrets, we may one day uncover the answers to these questions. But for now, the Amazon remains a place of wonder and mystery, where the past is hidden beneath the trees, waiting to be rediscovered. As you continue your journey, it becomes clear that the lost cities of the Amazon were not just the product of myth and legend. They were real, thriving civilizations that once flourished in the heart of this great rainforest. The roads they built, the cities they constructed, and the agricultural systems they developed were not simply survivals. They were testaments to the incredible adaptability and ingenuity of the people who lived here. These civilizations were far more advanced than we ever imagined, and as we continue to explore, we will uncover more of their story. Historians still argue about the extent and nature of the civilizations that once inhabited the Amazon. Were they part of a larger, unified empire, or were they a collection of independent societies? Did they survive for centuries, or were they short-lived? We may never have all the answers, but the discoveries made so far have radically changed the way we view the Amazon. The jungle is not a wilderness, it is a cradle of history, a place where civilizations once rose and fell, leaving behind only traces of their existence. And as we continue to uncover those traces, we come closer to understanding the incredible history of the Amazon. The deeper you push into the heart of the Amazon, the more the jungle seems to envelop you, becoming a constant presence, almost like a companion on this long journey through time. As the path grows narrower and the trees tower overhead, there is a sense that you're walking through a living archive of history. The discovery of the lost cities of the Amazon continues to unfold with each new step, a slow but steady revelation of a past that has long been hidden by time, nature, and the very jungle that now keeps it in its grasp. It's fascinating to think that these ancient civilizations, whose stories were once thought to be legends, were so intricately connected with the landscape. The cities, the roads, the intricate agricultural systems, all of it reveals a society that understood its environment in ways that are only now becoming apparent. These civilizations were not passive observers of the land. They actively shaped it to suit their needs, creating sustainable systems that allowed them to thrive in the harshest conditions. The roads that crisscross the Amazon basin are some of the most remarkable discoveries of the past few decades. These roads were not simply built to connect isolated communities. They were designed with care and precision, following the natural contours of the land and weaving their way through the dense forest. Some appear to have been created with an almost spiritual purpose, aligning with celestial events or natural features in the landscape. The realization that these roads connected an entire network of cities, allowing for the free flow of goods, culture, and ideas, transforms our understanding of the Amazon. The jungle, which once seemed like an insurmountable barrier, was in fact the canvas for these societies, who learned to live in harmony with their surroundings. The cities they built were centers of life, culture, and governance, with grand plazas, ceremonial spaces, and temples that aligned with their cosmological beliefs. It's clear that the people who built these cities had a deep understanding of their environment, not only using it for sustenance, but also building it into their spiritual and cultural practices. Their cities were not isolated. They were part of a much larger system, an interconnected web of societies that shared knowledge, traded goods, and exchanged ideas across vast distances. One of the most striking elements of these discoveries is the advanced agricultural systems that supported these civilizations. The use of terra preta, the dark, fertile soil created by human intervention, was key to sustaining large populations in an environment that was otherwise challenging for farming. These ancient people didn't simply work the land, they transformed it, enriching the soil and ensuring it could provide for them year after year. The discovery of this artificial soil offers insights into the ingenuity of the people who lived here. People who found ways to cultivate crops in an otherwise unforgiving environment, allowing them to build thriving cities that lasted for centuries. However, as much as we are learning about the remarkable achievements of these lost civilizations, there is still a great deal we don't know. The mystery of their disappearance remains one of the biggest unanswered questions. What caused these once thriving cities to fall silent? Was it environmental factors, drought, floods, or soil depletion? Or did the arrival of European explorers and the diseases they brought to the Americas play a role in the collapse? There are theories, but no definitive answers. What is clear, however, is that the lost cities of the Amazon were not small, isolated communities. They were part of a sophisticated, interconnected world that spanned the entire Amazon basin. These cities were linked by roads, canals, and trade routes, creating a vast network that enabled the flow of goods and ideas across vast stretches of jungle. The sheer scale of these discoveries is staggering, and it challenges our previous understanding of the Amazon as an uninhabitable wilderness. In reality, it was a thriving, interconnected world where people adapted to their environment and created systems that supported large, complex societies. The more we uncover, the more we realize that these civilizations were not just surviving, they were thriving. They had a deep understanding of their land and were able to manipulate it to suit their needs. They built roads and canals to move goods, connected cities across great distances, and cultivated the land in ways that allowed them to feed their people and sustain their urban centers. This was not the work of primitive people. It was the work of advanced civilizations capable of engineering and innovation. Despite these groundbreaking discoveries, the mysteries of the Amazon's lost cities are far from solved. The question of why these cities were abandoned remains elusive, and with each new discovery, it seems that the jungle has even more to reveal. But there is hope that the truth will come to light, piece by piece, layer by layer. As more technology is applied to this incredible search, we'll undoubtedly uncover more about these ancient peoples and the cities they built. Perhaps what's most remarkable is how these lost civilizations shaped their environment in ways that are still relevant today. The agricultural innovations they developed are now being studied and replicated in efforts to create sustainable farming practices that can be applied to modern challenges. The road systems and cities they built show us how people in the past created solutions to the challenges of their environment, solutions that still hold lessons for us today. The legacy of the Amazon's lost cities may not just be a story of the past. It may also be a story that holds the key to solving some of today's most pressing issues. Historians still debate how advanced these civilizations truly were. Some argue that they were isolated, small communities, while others believe they were part of a larger, unified culture. No matter the debate, what's clear is that these civilizations were far more advanced than we ever imagined. The lost cities of the Amazon are a reminder that we still have much to learn from the past, and that some of the greatest discoveries still lie hidden beneath the trees. As you push further into the heart of the Amazon, the sense of discovery intensifies. It's as if the jungle itself is watching, waiting for you to uncover its next secret. Every inch of the path feels like you're walking through the remnants of a forgotten world, one that was once vibrant with life, culture, and innovation. The ruins that dot the landscape, weathered by centuries of rain, wind, and growth, seem to hum with the echoes of a past that is slowly coming back into focus. This ancient world is not lost. It's merely waiting for the right time to be rediscovered. The revelations of the past few decades have shattered many of our previous assumptions about the Amazon. What was once thought to be an inhospitable wilderness, too dense and unforgiving to support large-scale societies, is now showing itself to be a thriving landscape where advanced civilizations once flourished. The evidence of these civilizations is not just confined to the ruins of cities, but to the landscape itself. The roads, canals, and agricultural systems they left behind are proof of their ingenuity and adaptability. One of the most intriguing discoveries has been the realization that the cities of the Amazon were not isolated. Far from it, they were part of a massive network interconnected by vast systems of roads, waterways, and trade routes. These roads weren't simply pathways, they were the lifeblood of these societies, allowing the free flow of goods, culture, and ideas across vast distances. The discovery of these road systems, some stretching hundreds of miles, shows that the ancient peoples of the Amazon were capable of organizing and managing complex networks that spanned the length and breadth of the rainforest. They were not just surviving, they were thriving. The scale of this network is nothing short of astonishing. The roads, which were often built with an eye for the natural landscape, demonstrate a sophisticated understanding of the environment. Some roads were constructed to avoid flood zones. Others were designed to align with the stars or other celestial bodies, suggesting that the people who built them were not just concerned with practical matters. They were also guided by spiritual and cultural beliefs that tied their cities to the natural world. Yet for all the advances these civilizations achieved, the question of why they disappeared remains. What caused these vast and interconnected societies to vanish, leaving only ruins and fragmented memories behind? Theories abound. Some suggest that environmental factors, such as droughts or flooding, could have made it impossible for these civilizations to sustain themselves. Others argue that the arrival of Europeans, with their diseases and wars, led to the collapse of these once great cities. Still, there are those who propose that internal factors, like political instability, overpopulation, or resource depletion, could have played a role in their downfall. Despite the mystery surrounding their collapse, it's clear that the civilizations of the Amazon were far more advanced than we once thought. The way they interacted with the environment, the way they built their cities and connected them through roads and waterways, demonstrates a level of sophistication that rivals any of the ancient civilizations of Europe or Asia. The lost cities of the Amazon weren't just the stuff of legend. They were real, and they were far more complex and interconnected than we had ever imagined. What's perhaps most intriguing is that these civilizations weren't merely surviving in the Amazon, they were thriving. They had found ways to manipulate the environment to suit their needs, creating sustainable systems that allowed them to flourish in a region once thought to be incapable of sustaining large populations. The advanced agricultural techniques they developed, such as terracing, irrigation, and the creation of fertile soil through the use of terra preta, show a deep understanding of the land. They didn't just live with the Amazon, they shaped it, using their knowledge of the environment to build cities and societies that lasted for centuries. As you continue to explore, the sense of awe only grows. The ruins that surround you, though eroded by time, still speak to the grandeur of the civilizations that once built them. You can almost see it. People walking through the streets, trading goods in bustling markets, and exchanging ideas in the grand plazas. These were vibrant, complex societies that once thrived here, their stories hidden beneath the jungle for centuries. And now, piece by piece, those stories are coming back into view. Historians still argue about the scope of these ancient civilizations. Were they part of a single unified empire, or were they smaller, independent societies connected by trade and cultural exchange? Were the cities of the Amazon vast, interconnected urban centers, or were they isolated communities? There may never be a definitive answer to these questions, but the discoveries made so far have fundamentally changed the way we view the Amazon. What was once thought to be an inhospitable wilderness is now seen as a vibrant world where people lived, built, and created thriving societies. The search for the lost cities of the Amazon is far from over. Each new discovery, each new breakthrough, brings us one step closer to understanding the civilizations that once called this jungle home. The jungle itself may hold many more secrets, and with each passing year, as technology advances, more will be revealed. But for now, it's clear that the lost cities of the Amazon weren't just the stuff of legend, they were real, and their legacy is waiting to be uncovered, piece by piece, layer by layer. As you make your way deeper into the heart of the Amazon, the jungle seems to grow even more dense, the air thick with humidity and the soft rustle of leaves overhead. There's a sense of stillness here, as though the land is holding its breath, waiting for you to uncover its final secrets. Every step forward feels like you're unlocking a new chapter of a story that's been buried for centuries. The once hidden cities of the Amazon are coming back to life, revealing themselves one piece at a time. And yet, with each discovery, the questions only grow, the mystery deepening as more of the ancient past comes into view. One of the most remarkable aspects of this journey is realizing just how advanced these civilizations were. The cities that once stood here weren't just small villages. They were sprawling urban centers, complete with roads, temples, ceremonial spaces, and agricultural systems. These ancient societies were capable of feats that we had once believed to be impossible in such an environment. The Amazon, with its dense forests, unpredictable weather, and treacherous rivers, was thought to be an inhospitable place for large-scale human habitation. And yet, these civilizations didn't just survive. They thrived, building complex systems that allowed them to adapt to and manipulate their surroundings. The discovery of these ancient cities has reshaped our understanding of the Amazon. What was once considered an impassable wilderness is now being revealed as a cradle of advanced civilization. The roads and canals that connect these cities form a vast network, indicating that the people of the Amazon were not isolated, but part of a much larger, interconnected world. These roads were more than just transportation routes. They were lifelines connecting communities across hundreds of miles, facilitating trade, cultural exchange, and communication. It's clear now that the Amazon was not just a jungle. It was a thriving, interconnected region where societies flourished in ways we are still struggling to understand. The agricultural systems that supported these cities are just as impressive. The use of terra preta, the nutrient-rich soil that the ancient people created through the intentional mixing of charcoal, organic material, and other substances, enabled them to cultivate crops on a large scale. This fertile soil, unlike the naturally poor Amazonian soil, allowed them to grow a variety of crops from manioc to maize, providing sustenance for large populations. This discovery not only shows the ingenuity of these civilizations, but also their deep understanding of the land and its cycles. They didn't just live in the Amazon, they shaped it, making it work for them in ways that modern societies are only now beginning to appreciate. Despite the staggering advancements these societies achieved, the question remains, what happened to them? Why did these great cities disappear, leaving only ruins and remnants behind? Theories abound, but no one truly knows the answer. Some suggest that the arrival of European explorers, with their diseases and warfare, could have decimated the indigenous populations, leading to the collapse of these civilizations. Others propose that environmental factors such as droughts or floods may have led to their downfall, or that the natural resources of the land were overexploited. There's also the possibility that internal conflict, overpopulation, or political instability could have played a role. The truth, it seems, may never be fully understood, leaving us to only speculate on the reasons behind the downfall of these once great societies. Still, what's undeniable is the sophistication and complexity of the civilizations that once thrived here. They were far from primitive. They were builders, innovators, and visionaries, capable of creating cities, roads, and agricultural systems that allowed them to adapt to the harshest environment on Earth. The more we uncover, the more we realize that the civilizations of the Amazon were just as advanced as any found elsewhere in the world. They may have vanished, but their legacy is far from forgotten. One of the most captivating aspects of the lost cities of the Amazon is the connection between the people who built them and the environment around them. Unlike many other ancient civilizations that sought to dominate nature, the people of the Amazon learned to live with it. They worked in harmony with the land, understanding its rhythms, and using their knowledge to create sustainable systems that could support their cities for generations. The roads, canals, and agricultural systems they built were not just functional. They were part of a larger worldview, one that saw humanity as a part of the natural world, not apart from it. This deep connection to the environment is perhaps the most powerful lesson we can learn from these ancient peoples. In an era where environmental concerns are more pressing than ever, the ways in which these civilizations adapted to and thrived in one of the most challenging ecosystems on Earth offer valuable insights. They found ways to create sustainable systems, to balance human needs with the natural world, and to build cities that lasted for centuries. These are the lessons that we too must learn if we are to build a sustainable future. As you stand in the midst of these ancient ruins, the realization sets in. The lost cities of the Amazon were not just stories. They were real, complex civilizations whose accomplishments were as great as any in history. The fact that these cities, roads, and agricultural systems have remained hidden for so long only adds to their mystique. The jungle, with all its beauty and danger, has preserved these secrets for centuries, waiting for the right time for them to be uncovered. And now, as we begin to understand more about these civilizations, it feels as though we're just beginning to unlock the story of the Amazon. The question of why these civilizations disappeared remains unanswered, but the story of the Amazon's lost cities is far from over. Every new discovery brings us closer to understanding the people who lived here, their accomplishments, and the reasons for their rise and fall. The Amazon may be an ancient keeper of secrets, but it's also a place of endless discovery where the past is waiting to be revealed, piece by piece. And at the edge of what could be another ancient city, something deep within you stirs. The jungle around you remains unchanged, a dense and unrelenting green wall, but beneath that vibrant veil, there are echoes of another world, a world that existed long before modern civilization spread its reach across the globe. The ruins, the the roads, and the remains of civilization slowly being uncovered piece by piece all point to one simple truth. The Amazon was once home to some of the most advanced societies the world had ever seen. And their legacy is not just one of grandeur, but of profound lessons that resonate today. What's so striking about these discoveries is how they force us to rethink everything we thought we knew about the Amazon. For centuries, the jungle was considered an inhospitable wilderness, a barrier to human settlement. Yet, beneath the thick canopy, thriving civilizations managed to live, grow, and prosper. Their cities were built with intention, their agricultural practices were sophisticated, and their societies were connected by a vast network of roads, trade routes, and canals. These were not isolated pockets of humanity. They were part of a far-reaching system, a dynamic world that spanned vast distances across the Amazon basin. What continues to fascinate historians and archaeologists is the sheer scale of these civilizations. The roads that link the cities, the intricate irrigation systems that sustained them, and the evidence of complex urban planning point to a level of sophistication we had once thought impossible in such a challenging environment. These societies didn't just adapt to the Amazon, they transformed it, shaping the land to create cities that could support large populations and flourish for centuries. The more we uncover about these lost cities, the more we realize that they were not primitive societies. These were advanced civilizations that had a deep understanding of their environment, one that allowed them to cultivate the land, build monumental cities, and create sustainable systems that allowed them to thrive in one of the world's most hostile environments. From the careful design of their roads to the creation of terra preta, the fertile soil that allowed crops to grow in otherwise inhospitable land, it's clear that these people were masters of their domain. They knew how to use the environment to their advantage, shaping the land and the landscape to build thriving urban centers that were connected to one another through trade, culture, and shared resources. One of the most poignant aspects of this journey is realizing that, despite the incredible achievements of these civilizations, they eventually vanished. What caused their downfall remains one of the greatest mysteries of the Amazon. Was it environmental change, drought, flooding, or the eventual depletion of soil? Was it the arrival of European colonizers whose diseases decimated the indigenous populations and disrupted their way of life? Was it internal conflict, overpopulation, or the overuse of resources that led to the collapse of these once thriving cities? Historians are still debating the causes, and the answer remains elusive. But what is undeniable is that the ruins and remnants left behind are not just relics of the past. They are a testament to the resilience, creativity, and ingenuity of these civilizations. What's equally fascinating is the way these ancient people lived in harmony with the land. The use of terra preta, for example, shows a profound understanding of the environment. This dark, fertile soil, created by mixing organic materials with charcoal, allowed the people of the Amazon to sustain agriculture over long periods. It was a technique that made it possible to feed large populations, and it's a practice that modern scientists are now studying to help solve some of today's most pressing environmental challenges. The relationship these civilizations had with their environment is more relevant than ever. As we face our own environmental crises, climate change, resource depletion, and food insecurity, the lessons of the Amazon's lost cities offer valuable insights. These civilizations thrived by working with the land, understanding its rhythms, and building systems that allowed them to live in balance with nature. It's a lesson we need to learn today, as we struggle to create sustainable systems that can feed, shelter, and support growing populations across the globe. And yet, as much as we are learning, there is still so much left to uncover. The jungle may be revealing its secrets, but it holds many more. The ruins of the lost cities are just the beginning. As technology continues to advance and new techniques like LiDAR, ground-penetrating radar, and satellite imagery offer fresh insights, there is hope that even more will be uncovered. Who knows what remains hidden beneath the thick canopy, waiting to be discovered? For now, what is clear is that the Amazon is far more than just a jungle. It is the cradle of ancient civilizations that once ruled this vast land. The lost cities of the Amazon weren't just myths. They were real, tangible cultures that shaped their environment and built societies that thrived for centuries. And even as the jungle reclaims them, these cities leave behind a legacy that can't be erased. Their stories, once lost to time, are coming back into focus, one discovery at a time. With every new revelation, we are drawn closer to understanding the history of the Amazon. The cities, roads, canals, and agricultural systems reveal a world that was far more advanced than we ever imagined. The Amazon wasn't just a place of survival, it was a place of creation, of flourishing, and of deep, thoughtful interaction with nature. These civilizations were not only shaped by the jungle, they shaped it in return. As we continue to unearth their stories, we are reminded that the history of the Amazon is not just ancient, it's alive, and it holds the potential to teach us more about the past, the present, and the future.